Chapter 273. If he couldn't grind, there was only one last method left. Using life and death as a furnace to nurture the supreme battle fetus. Using battle to nurture battle. The collision between life and death was the best catalyst and the best forging hammer. There was great terror between life and death. In the face of life and death, a martial artist's potential would be released to the greatest extent. However, this method was extremely cruel. If one was not careful, they might really die. After recovering from his injuries, Qin Feng stood up and looked up. At this time, there was only one battle left at the bottom of the hill. Long Ling was suppressing the heavenly snake clan woman. On the side, lifeless Sword Zhangxian, Yi Qinghua, Lin Jiqiu, and the others were supporting the formation surrounding the woman. At this time, a slightly surprised voice came to his ears. "Senior brother Qin Feng, you're awake. Your injuries?" "Just a small injury, no problem." Qin Feng looked up. The white-clothed girl was protecting him. Jiang Binger's beautiful eyes revealed a trace of splendor. They had all seen Qin Feng's previous injuries. Such a serious injury, but he had recovered in a short time. At this time, the heavenly snake clan woman had reached the end of her life. Long Ling strength was extremely tyrannical, and the water attribute Northern Darkness divine ability was extremely effective against the heavenly snake clan's poisonous flames. Long Ling's sword light slashed. Just as the heavenly snake clan woman was about to dodge, her ankle was silently entangled by a black spirit vine as thick as an arm. The clear sword light slashed like a wave, and the heavenly snake clan woman was split into two with a bang. The nearly 20 Demon Temple experts present all bowed their heads. Several All-Stars College experts saw Qin Feng walk over, and there was a trace of surprise in their eyes. There was respect and fear in their eyes. "How should I address you, senior brother? If it weren't for senior brother's help this time, I'm afraid all of us would have died here." Long Ling looked at Qin Feng, natural and unrestrained. Glancing at the valiant Long Ling, Qin Feng cupped his hands and smiled. "Senior sister Long is too polite. I'm Qin Feng, so it's the Azure Dragon Chief. No wonder he has such means." A weird light flashed across the corner of Long Ling's eyes. "He's that junior martial brother Qin Feng, whom senior martial sister Xuelian can't forget. As expected, he's formidable. No wonder he's able to defend the Azure Dragon Institute's first seat. I heard that half a year ago, he was only at the 8th heavenly layer of the martial path. In just half a year, he broke through the 5th heavenly layer of the martial path and advanced to the 13th heavenly layer of the martial path. This kind of speed is simply shocking." After Long Ling finished greeting them, the other 5 people came forward to greet them one by one. Among the 5, Zhang Xian had a cold temperament and only nodded. There was also Lin Jiqiu, Shuiyu, Hao Lianqing, and Wang Yu. The 4 of them were all elites of their time. The 4 of them were all in the second secret realm of the Meridian's condensation period. Their auras weren't weak at all. Apart from Long Ling, Zhang Xian, Yi Qinghua, and Jiang Binger, the others were more or less injured. After resting for a while, the group of people divided up the corpses. Qin Feng felt that it was a pity. The young martial emperor of the White Tiger royal family was too unyielding. He had actually self-detonated his blood essence. Qin Feng received the corpses of the 5 Ape Clan elites. As for the others, Long Ling, Zhang Xian, and Yi Qinghua each received 3 corpses. The rest were divided equally. After absorbing the blood essence of the 5 giant apes, Qin Feng's 9th grade Red Lotus still had the appearance of a master. It seemed that the corpse of a grade 1 Ape Clan elite was no longer of much use to it. As for the remaining people, Long Ling received 3 corpses of the White Lotus blossoming 12th grade Red Lotus. The others didn't make much of a commotion. After cleaning up the battlefield, the group gathered together. Long Ling looked around and said, "The smell of blood is too strong right now. It's not a place to stay for long. Let's leave this place quickly." Long Ling's words weren't without reason. The commotion here was too big. If it weren't for the sea of flowers covering the smell of blood, the Demon Temple elites would have already found this place. Then where should we go now? Continue to look for senior sister Shuoyan? Jiang Binger looked at Qin Feng. Qin Feng's eyes flickered as he said, "Of course. Our strength is too weak after all. It's already difficult enough to meet such a small group of elites from the Demon Temple. If we meet a group of 100, I'm afraid we'll be in danger. We need to find more elites from All Stars College." Qin Feng's mentality had changed. Qin Feng needed to fight. Naturally, he didn't want to be like before. He only wanted to find a few more people to set up a formation to protect himself. Longling, and the others looked at each other. They didn't have any objections to this suggestion. With one more person, they would have more strength. They weren't willing to hide in a corner, deceive themselves, and wait for death. The group continued their search towards Zixia Peak. Not long after the group left, a black figure gradually walked out from the shadows on the ground. It was a young girl shrouded in a black robe. Shirtong looked in the direction where the group left and muttered to herself. Who created that formation? Was it that black-robed youth or someone else? After saying that, Shirtong thought to herself, but this is good. Now that Big Brother Wu Shuang and my big sister are trapped, it's a good opportunity for me. As long as I can kill all these people and avenge Shi Qing, I'll be able to earn Big Brother Wu Shuang's gratitude. Maybe I can even take this opportunity to dampen Shirhan's spirit. Shirhan, don't be too proud. Shirtong, will not lose to you. Shirtong's beautiful eyes flickered. Her black figure flashed and merged into the shadows on the ground. She silently followed Qin Feng and the others. At this time, on a huge mountain peak thousands of miles away from Zixia Peak. Around the mountain peak, experts stood resolutely. The experts from the Demon Temple gathered in front of the mountain peak, forming a huge encirclement. They sealed off a long and narrow valley at the foot of the mountain. On top of the mountain, 3 abnormally strong auras stood in the air. Around these 3 powerful auras, dozens of powerful beings who were far more powerful than Long Ling, and the others were unscrupulously releasing their auras. Among them, the 3 auras in the center were the most powerful. At this time, a white tiger royal race expert with wings on his back flew down from the sky. He landed on the ground like a white light and knelt down on one knee. His gaze fell on one of the owners of the powerful auras. He lowered his head, his gaze respectful and docile. He reported in a deep voice, "Young Master, the experts from the other 9 clans just sent news. We have completely sealed off the 4 exits of the Demon Hunter Canyon. Young Master, do you want me to lead a team to search the Demon Hunter Canyon?" The 3 auras belonged to one type. One of them was as bright as the sun. He smiled lightly and waved his hand. "Not for now. The Demon Hunter Canyon's terrain is complicated. There are many places to hide. Also, rumor has it that the Demon Hunter Canyon is a sealed place in the Earth Abyss's esophagus. There's another world inside, and it's very dangerous. The remaining experts from the 10 battle teams of All Stars College have all entered it. We can't be fooled. We have to gather all the experts and kill them all in one go. We can't give them a chance to attack us one by one." Chapter 274. Very good. You've done well this time. When we return to the temple, this young master will definitely ask for a reward from my father. If we can wipe out All Stars College's elites this time, the 12 of us will jointly recommend to the elders to let you enter the land of inheritance to look at the secret method. Many thanks, young master. The white tiger youth was overjoyed. After bowing, he slowly retreated. He watched as the white tiger race youth left. One of the 3 powerhouses had a grave and stern expression. He had green hair and green eyebrows. The geniuses of All Stars College are already at the end of their rope. Next, we'll let them bleed and kill them one by one. I think the elders will be very happy to see this scene. Bai Yu quietly glanced at this youth. His eyes narrowed slightly, and there was some fear in them. This expert with green hair and green eyebrows wasn't simple. Among the 12 strongest races, this race was known as the king of all trees, the lord of the jungle. If it wasn't for the fact that this race had very few members since ancient times, they would have already dominated the wildlands. The other black-haired youth said with a smile. This time, not only do we have to defeat All-Stars College, but we also have to kill All-Stars College's powerhouses. However, we have to be careful. There are quite a few powerhouses among the top 10 of All-Stars College that aren't inferior to our temple's top 10 powerhouses. These people are very dangerous. We have to be careful of their counterattack. Mu Wu sneered. The powerhouses in the Demon Hunter Canyon are like turtles in a jar. As long as we have patience, we'll be able to kill them sooner or later. Bai shook his head and said slowly, I'm afraid it's not that simple. Although the elders can delay All-Stars College for a while, they can't hold them off for long. All-Stars College has been expanding rapidly these past few years. Young powerhouses are emerging one after another. Unless our Wildlands Temple plans to go to war with All-Stars College, we don't have much time left. The black-haired youth smiled eerily. Don't worry. All-Stars College's people are already at the end of their rope in the Demon Hunter Canyon. They're just cornered beasts fighting. We only need to wait for the experts of the 9 royal families to arrive. Once the time is right, we'll definitely be able to kill these prodigies of All-Stars College. However, there are still some stragglers in the forest. These people are hiding in the dark, playing hide-and-seek with us like mice. These people are a little troublesome. Mu Wu said, Gu Ling, you don't have to worry about this matter. Since we've decided to wipe out the younger generation of All-Stars College, we naturally won't let any of them escape. Leave it to the experts of my race. Wonderful. Brother Mu's clan is the natural ruler of the forest, the king of all trees. Nothing in the forest can escape the eyes of the nobles. If Brother Mu can help, it will be great. I don't think those little rats in hiding know that their doomsday is coming soon. The other 2 experts smiled faintly. Mu Wu nodded slightly and looked around. Among the dozens of experts in the surroundings, his gaze landed on 3 of them. Muha Musong Mubishin come out. 2 men and 1 woman walked out from the dozens of experts. Young master. The 3 of them saluted in unison. Mu Wu looked at the 3 of them with slight satisfaction. The 3 of you are rare geniuses of the Mu clan and the 3 strongest people under me. Each of you is not inferior to the so-called kings of All-Stars College's top 10 battle teams. Now, it's your chance to make a contribution. Each of you will lead a team of 100 people. With this place as the center, search in the east, south, and north directions. If you find anyone from All-Stars College, kill them without mercy. Yes, young master. The 3 of them looked at each other with a hint of joy in their eyes. One of the Mu clan experts smiled. Don't worry, young master. They're just some 2-legged sheep of the human race. Those weak 2-legged sheep only know how to play tricks. In terms of strength, they're no match for us wilderness experts. The 3 of us will not disappoint young master. We'll definitely dig out all the rats hiding in the forest of All-Stars College and kill them all. We must not leave a single one behind. Mu Wu nodded. Very good. You can go now. The 3 of them hurried down the mountain. Subsequently, a group of several hundred people under the leadership of several Wood Tribe powerhouses searched the entire skyscraper ridge in a carpet-style manner. At the foot of a mountain 100 miles away from Zixia Peak, Qin Feng's group of 9 arrived here against the sea of flowers. At this time, the moon was already high in the sky. A faint black light flickered above the dark sky. The 9 of them had been on the road for a whole day and had experienced a great battle during the day. Although they still had sufficient physical strength, they were mentally exhausted. Long Ling suggested that they rest here temporarily and continue searching for traces of the snow lotus during the day. The other 8 discussed and immediately decided to rest here for a day. Qin Feng didn't mind. He was full of physical strength and didn't need a rest for a few days. However, the other All-Stars College experts had been injured during the day and hadn't recovered yet. They needed time to recuperate. For these experts, traveling for a long time was still a big responsibility and might affect their condition. The 9 people found an open area and started a bonfire. The 4 women, Long Ling, Yi Qinghua, Jiang Bing'er, and Wang Yu, gathered together early in the morning. The three of them whispered to each other. After a while, no one knew what they were talking about. After that, they left. Qin Feng's sixth spirit sense was unusually strong. He heard clearly that the four women were going to take a bath. These four women had been fooling around in the forest for a few days and hadn't taken a bath. They couldn't bear it anymore. On the other side, Zhang Xian was leaning against a tree coldly. He sat cross-legged and closed his eyes. His body exuded a kind of coldness that saints couldn't get close to. Lin Jiqiu brought the three of them back with a porcupine boar. Soon, the fragrance of meat floated among the living creatures. The pork was golden under the influence of Lin Jiqiu and still had a fragrant smell. It was very appetizing. Qin Feng had already given up eating meat. He took out a few spiritual fruits from the azure sea, heaven, and earth and began to eat them. Suddenly, Qin Feng raised his head and saw Lin Jiqiu looking at him eagerly. Qin Feng's heart skipped a beat, and he threw a fruit to the young man. "Thank you, senior brother Qin Feng." This guy had always called Qin Feng junior brother. When he saw a spiritual fruit, he immediately called him senior brother. He had no integrity at all. The other two young men also came up. They were all young people. Although they were a little competitive, they didn't have any other thoughts. They called him senior brother, one by one. Qin Feng was not stingy. He took out a few 100-year-old Yuling fruits and threw them to them. They were overjoyed. This kind of spiritual fruit was full of spiritual qi. It was a holy object for healing. After eating one, their injuries would be healed by at least 40 to 50%. Qin Feng glanced at Zhang Xian. Qin Feng took out a 100-year-old Yuling fruit and threw it to Zhang Xian. Zhang Xian suddenly opened his eyes and looked at Qin Feng. He glanced at the Yuling fruit in his hand, swallowed it, and closed his eyes again. He had quite a personality. Qin Feng chuckled. Qin Feng found a big tree and leaned against it. He sat cross-legged and adjusted his breath with his eyes closed. Soon after, Qin Feng heard the footsteps of the four women coming back. After an unknown period of time, the bonfire in front of him gradually became cold. Suddenly, Qin Feng felt a trace of abnormality and abruptly opened his eyes. A black shadow flashed past the corner of his eyes. Qin Feng abruptly raised his head and just happened to see Shuiyu, who was leaning against an ancient tree, suddenly open his eyes. He clutched his neck and stared unwaveringly at Qin Feng for a few moments before suddenly falling to the ground, completely lifeless. There are more updates. Chapter 275. In the mountain forest, the flames in the bonfire flickered coldly in the dark. Shuiyu was dead. He died silently in front of the eight of them. The eight of them gathered around Shuiyu, who was lying on the ground in a pool of blood. The mountain wind whimpered as the night breeze blew over. The eight of them felt a chill growing on their bodies. Someone ambushed him. That person was very nimble and cut off Shuiyu's throat in a split second. After inspecting Shuiyu's body, Long Linger's indifferent voice made the eight of them even more silent. Who killed Shuiyu? Who was it that was able to kill him silently under the eyes of these 8 people? Since they could kill Shuiyu today, did that mean they could kill the others as well? A terrifying undercurrent quietly flowed between the 8 of them. Qin Feng's face was gloomy. Several hours ago, Shuiyu was still calling him senior brother, senior brother. Now, he was dead in front of him. This caused a layer of fire to burn in his heart. Qin Feng recalled the black shadow that flashed by. That black shadow seemed to have blended into the sinister shade of the night and disappeared. Qin Feng's spiritual sense was powerful, so he naturally wouldn't be wrong. Could it be a shadow ability? Qin Feng's face became even more gloomy. Qin Feng knew some shadow abilities. Many martial artists who cultivated the power of darkness would cultivate some very unorthodox abilities. These unorthodox abilities were strange and hard to guard against. Let's bury him. It's just a pity for junior brother Shuiyu. Lin Jiqiu and Hao Lianqing's expressions were gloomy. The sorrow and anger in their eyes could not be concealed. The two of them had gone through thick and thin with Shuiyu. Lin Jiqiu and Hao Lianqing carried Shuiyu and dug an empty grave with their hands, burying Shuiyu. Good brother, the two of us will definitely find the murderer for you. As long as we don't die, We will take revenge for you even if we have to risk our lives. If we don't take revenge, we're not human. Qin Feng glanced at the two of them, then turned to look at the surrounding forest. Vaguely, Qin Feng's powerful spiritual sense could sense a gloomy gaze staring at them. Junior brother Qin Feng. Yi Qinghua walked over. Her beautiful face was filled with sorrow, like a fox mourning the death of a rabbit. Senior sister Yi, did you find the seven-colored spiritual vine? Yi Qinghua's spirit-devouring vine had evolved after devouring the blood essence of a few demons from the demon temple. The rainbow spirit vine was very powerful and was the spirit of the greenwood. This spirit root already had some intelligence and was more sensitive to changes in the environment. It could control many plants. Tonight, the seven-colored spirit vine was on guard duty. He believed that with the ability of the seven-colored spirit vine, it should be able to find something. To Qin Feng's surprise, Yi Qinghua actually shook her head. Xiaoling said that there were no special people or beasts around. There were also no poisonous insects or gas that could pose a threat to us. It seems that the person who made the move in the dark is really extraordinary. He could even hide from the seven-colored spiritual vine. The 8 of them sat in silence and waited until dawn. The next day, they continued to rush towards Zixia Peak. However, since Shui Yu's death, the team was much quieter and more vigilant. In the forest, the 8 of them unexpectedly met a couple. It was a man and a woman. When they met them, the 2 of them were hiding in a bear cave. When Qin Feng and the rest found them, they were almost attacked. The 2 of them ran out of the bear cave in tattered clothes like savages. According to their own names, the man was called Yi Quan and the woman was called Lu Yuhan. They were both experts from previous batches and belonged to the Moon Battle Team, one of the top 10 battle teams. Qin Feng did not like the 2 of them. The reason was that the 2 of them were not very observant. Ever since they caught the 8 of them, they kept trying to get close to Long Longer. They also kept encouraging Long Longer, trying to make Long Longer the temporary leader of the team. Towards Qin Feng, who was at the 13th heavenly layer of the martial path, he often looked askance. On the hill, Qin Feng watched Yi Quan and Lu Yuhan go up to Long Longer with water and fawn on her. Qin Feng closed his eyes. What the eye does not see, the heart does not grieve over. Recently, Qin Feng's comprehension of the title profound meaning had become more and more proficient. Ever since he comprehended the title fusion profound meaning, the power of Qin Feng's tidal extinction sword had increased day by day. Now that he was using the tidal extinction sword, Qin Feng no longer needed to accumulate power. With a casual slash, he could fuse the 6 tidal waves into one and slash out. This kind of power was stronger and more condensed than the power of the tidal waves alone. It was fast and slow in a single thought. It was very powerful. If he met that young emperor of the White Tiger race again, Qin Feng would only need 50 rounds to chop off his head. Yi Qinghua walked over. Her frown was filled with worry. What's wrong? Are there still no clues about senior sister? Qin Feng looked at her. After experiencing life and death, Yi Qinghua had matured even more. She was like a green peony after the rain, and her entire body was filled with an aura that was different from ordinary noble ladies. She was like a strong woman. She was brave, courageous, determined, and valiant. On the side, Lin Jiqiu and Hao Yinqing both expressed their interest in Yi Qinghua. However, Yi Qinghua did not show any interest in them. Instead, she was very interested in Qin Feng. Yi Qinghua nodded, then shook her head. Xiaoling can feel that senior sister Shuoyan's aura is nearby. However, the strange thing is that we can't find her position. It's like looking at flowers in a fog. This is indeed strange. Qin Feng frowned. Qin Feng was not unfamiliar with this situation. There were several possibilities for this situation. One was that this senior sister Shuoyan had cultivated some kind of special technique, which was why she was able to set up a maze, making it impossible for others to see through her and track her down. The second possibility was that she had some kind of treasure that could confuse auras. The third possibility was that she had accidentally run to a special place that could conceal her aura. Qin Feng was about to speak when his expression suddenly changed. His tyrannical spiritual sense, detected a huge aura that contained hostility rapidly approaching from several hundred feet away. This aura was faster than lightning, as if it was flashing rapidly in the shade of a tree under the sun. It was like a bolt of lightning. How dare you launch a sneak attack in broad daylight? Qin Feng looked over and relaxed in the next moment. The target of the sneak attack was not him. It was them. Qin Feng's eyes fell on Yi Quan and Lu Yuhan, who were showing off their affection beside a lone pine tree. Pucci! A cold light flashed, and a dark, sharp blade instantly cut open Yi Quan's neck. At the same time, it slashed towards the frightened Lu Yuhan. Showing off your love would kill you quickly. Looking at the two people showing off their love, the killer seemed to recall his own bitter experience. The weapon in his hand became more ruthless, and his killing intense soared. But in the next moment, the black-robed man's face changed. His body turned into a dark shadow and disappeared into the shade of the lone pine tree. With a loud bang, a sword light like a monstrous wave slashed through the air, cutting the lone pine tree in half. The black shadow flashed, moving in extremely fast speed. In an instant, Shadow Escape covered a distance of several hundred feet, disappearing into the broken tree. In a flash, Qin Feng appeared beside Yi Quan and Lu Yuhan like a streak of light. Qin Feng glanced at Yi Quan. Yi Quan's neck was severed, and he had lost his life. Qin Feng shook his head. Just as he was about to leave, he suddenly felt a strong resentment staring at him. Qin Feng turned around, and his eyes fell on Lu Yuhan, who was filled with hatred. Is she blaming me for not saving her lover in time? Chapter 276. It's all your fault. If you weren't too slow, Yi Quan wouldn't have died. Although Lu Yuhan didn't say anything, Qin Feng could tell what she was thinking from her eyes. Qin Feng was a little angry, but amused. Not only did this woman not want to repay him for saving her life, she even hated him. It was a classic example of repaying kindness with ingratitude. Qin Feng's long and narrow eyes narrowed. This was a hidden danger. With such a person in the team, there would be another unstable factor. Qin Feng didn't want to wait for the hidden danger to erupt before taking action. If you hate me, you could go to hell. Murderous intent flashed in Qin Feng's eyes. He looked at Lu Yuhan and grabbed her with one hand. Lu Yuhan couldn't even react before she was lifted up. A huge pressure came from her neck, and Lu Yuhan's face turned red. Qin Feng was far more domineering than she had imagined. He wanted to kill her at the slightest disagreement. She had only revealed a little bit of hatred, but he had sensed it and wanted to eliminate her immediately. He was as decisive and ruthless as a 1,000-year-old monster. More than that, Lu Yuhan was resentful. Since this person was so powerful, why didn't he save Yi Quan and let him die? He was a hypocrite and a hypocrite. It was all his fault. If he wasn't too slow, Yi Quan wouldn't have died. Lu Yuhan's eyes were filled with hatred as she stared at Qin Feng. She wanted nothing more than to skin him alive. At this moment, Long Ling, and the others also noticed the commotion here. With a flash, Long Ling took the lead to rush over. Qin Feng, what are you doing? Long was puzzled, and there was a hint of doubt and dissatisfaction in her eyes. Before Qin Feng could speak, Lu Yuhan was already overjoyed. She screamed like a crazy woman as if she had seen her savior. Senior Sister Long, you have to help me. Qin Feng is a spy. He colluded with assassins to kill senior brother Yi Quan. Longer, catch him. Longer's gaze fell on Qin Feng, and there was a hint of coldness and sternness in her eyes. Junior brother Qin Feng, can you let go of junior sister Lu? Qin Feng glanced at Longer in disdain. Was this woman really stupid, or was she pretending to be stupid? Qin Feng rejected her directly. No, anyone who goes against me must die. Crack! Qin Feng twisted his fingers, and Lu Yuhan's eyes bulged. She stared at Qin Feng in disbelief. Even until her death, she couldn't understand how Qin Feng had dared to kill her. You dare to kill her? You dare to kill a fellow disciple? Long Ling, expression suddenly changed, and an enormous aura began to appear around her. Qin Feng sneered. His eyes were like an ancient giant beast as he glared at Long Longer. His eyes were cold and gloomy. Long Ling, are you out of your mind? How dare you attack me? I advise you not to act rashly. Otherwise, don't blame me for twisting your head off. Qin Feng smiled maliciously. An even more powerful aura surged. Under this aura, Long Longer's face changed drastically, and there was a trace of fear in her eyes. Qin Feng's gaze was cold as he stared at Long Ling. This woman was simply crazy. It was probably because these few days in Yiquan, Lu Yuhan had heard too much flattery and became arrogant, thinking that she could challenge him. Qin Feng. Long Longer looked around as if asking for help. However, everyone was silent. Everyone saw what happened just now. It was clearly Lu Yuhan who was being unreasonable. She was seeking her own death. She couldn't blame others. They all knew Long Longer's thoughts. She couldn't be ambitious and wanted to be the leader of this team. Usually, it was fine if they were close to her, but at this time, no one was willing to follow her. They all knew that without a doubt. Qin Feng was the one who could really shelter them from the wind and rain. Long Longer's gaze fell on Yi Qinghua, Zhang Binger, Wang Yu, and the other good sisters. However, what made her heart turn cold was that Yi Qinghua, Zhang Binger, and Wang Yu were all expressionless. They all looked at Qin Feng, obviously following Qin Feng's lead. On the side, even Lin Jiqiu and Hao Lianqing, who were originally in the team, chose to watch indifferently. Zhang Xian leaned behind a tree, looking as if he would ignore them even if they all died. It was obvious that he wasn't reliable. Moreover, Long Long didn't know if it was an illusion, but she felt that this junior brother's gaze fell on her with a trace of sharp coldness. It was as if Qin Feng would attack her the next moment. At this time, Long Longer finally realized how terrifying the black-robed youth was. Silently, everyone here had been bribed by him. Morale is useful. Qin Feng was satisfied. Such a team was worthy of him sheltering them from the wind and rain and being a succor. If these people dared to show the slightest dissatisfaction with him, Qin Feng would definitely pick on them. Qin Feng was not a good person. Long Longer took a deep look at Qin Feng and turned to leave. Stop. Long Longer turned around and looked coldly at the black-robed youth with fluttering sleeves behind her. What else do you want? Qin Feng said indifferently as he flicked the blade of the spiritual sword in his hand. A cool light flashed and disappeared. I just want to tell you, don't try to play any tricks. I, Qin Feng, have tender feelings for the fairer sex, but my North Sea divine water sword won't recognize your beautiful face. A trace of anger flashed in Long Longer's eyes. She glanced coldly at Qin Feng and the others, then ran to the side alone to sulk. After this incident, the aura among the 8 people was a little strange. A day later, the 8 people appeared at the entrance of a gourd valley. This was a very strange place. It was at the foot of Zixia Peak. This was the entrance of a gourd valley. The surrounding was filled with white fog, and the mountains were hidden within the fog. Even Qin Feng, who was an expert with powerful 6 senses, could only see 10 meters ahead of him. What is this place? Why is it so strange? Even my spiritual sense is confused. It's like a natural maze. At the entrance of the valley, Yi Qinghua was a little hesitant. The 7-colored spiritual vine was giving her a warning of uneasiness. This place was unusual. Qin Feng looked at the gourd valley and sized up the surroundings. His eyes were a little strange. Combined with the surrounding terrain and the flow of spiritual qi in the air, Qin Feng judged that this was a maze. And it was a natural maze. I didn't expect there to be such a place in Skyscraper Ridge. Qin Feng's eyes flickered. At this moment, the origin of the azure sea, heaven, and earth in his body suddenly sent a strange and strong summoning force. It was as if something in the valley was attracting the origin of the azure sea, heaven, and earth, making it somewhat impatient. Qin Feng was very familiar with this feeling. When he entered the sacred mountain of the Ape Clan and saw the 10,000-year-old jade essence tree, the origin of the azure sea, heaven, and earth had sent this strange vibration. But it was definitely not as big as this. There was a high-level wood attribute spiritual object in the valley. Qin Feng's eyes lit up. It seems that this time, The opening of the Azure Sea heaven, one of the 5 directions heavens in the chaos, is settled. I just don't know what treasure is inside that actually caused the Azure Sea heaven and earth to shake like this. This is the first update. There are 5 more updates. Chapter 277. Junior brother, are we going in? Yi Qinghua's gaze fell on the gourd valley. Her eyes were filled with worry. This place was too strange. It was very similar to the natural formations recorded in ancient books. Natural formations were also known as Xiantian formations. They were extremely rare. Some natural maze formations could even easily trap Sea of Reincarnation experts. Don't worry, it's just a maze formation. This kind of formation might be a death trap to others, but to me, it's like a fish entering the sea. Qin Feng smiled lightly. What a joke. If a demigod formation grandmaster was trapped by a natural maze formation, Qin Feng could find a piece of tofu to kill himself. Hearing this, Lin Jiqiu, Hao Lianqing, and the others were shocked. Could it be that this senior brother Qin Feng was also a mystic formation master? Long Lingner's face was cold. When she heard Qin Feng's words, she was a little surprised. Mystic formation masters were too rare. Every formation Xian master was the precious treasure of some large factions. However, no matter how Long Linger looked at it, she felt that the black-robed youth was bragging. With a grudge in her heart, Long Linger didn't like Qin Feng. Yi Qinghua and Zhang Binger were quite convinced. If it wasn't for Qin Feng's 10,000 flowers mystic formation, they might have been hunted down. Let's go in and explore this gourd valley. Qin Feng took the lead and entered the gourd valley in his black robe. Yi Qinghua, Zhang Binger, Wang Yu, Lin Jiqiu, and Hao Lianqing followed closely behind. Zhang Xian's eyes moved slightly. After thinking for a moment, he also entered the gourd valley. Long Linger's expression changed. She didn't want to believe Qin Feng, but it wasn't safe to be alone outside. Moreover, there was an expert watching in the dark. It was very dangerous to fall behind. After a while, Long Linger stomped her feet and followed with a cold face. Just 100 breaths after Long Linger entered the gourd valley, a black figure rushed over from afar. After a few leaps, it landed in front of the gourd valley. Shirtong's tall and slender figure walked out from the thick fog. Her gaze swept across the surroundings as she frowned. What is this place? Why is the spiritual perception being suppressed so severely? Shirtong hesitated. Her sharp intuition told her that there was something strange up ahead. This was very similar to the natural formations recorded in ancient legacies. The elders in the clan had mentioned that it was very dangerous to rashly barge into such a natural formation. However, since the students of All Stars College dare to barge in, I, Shirtong, am not afraid of them. Shirtong did not want to fail at the final step. Moreover, it was rumored that places covered by natural formations usually had extremely precious spiritual objects. This was an opportunity. If one could obtain a natural spiritual object, one's cultivation might improve greatly. With a flicker of his silhouette, Shirtong followed closely behind Qin Feng and the others, disappearing into the thick fog of the gourd valley. Not long after Qin Feng and the others entered the gourd valley. In the sea of flowers hundreds of miles away from Zixia Peak, there was a loud explosion, and a golden light shattered the void. Bang, bang, bang. With a series of rumbling sounds, an invisible wave of energy swept across the area within a radius of several thousand feet. The invisible wave of energy caused countless flowers to soar into the sky and explode into a rain of flowers. A golden light shot up into the sky from the center. Shi Wushuang's majestic body shot out, and a blazing flame burst out without restraint. The surrounding experts felt that the sky had brightened up. Qin Feng's 1,000-flower God Confusion formation had caused a lot of trouble for the heavenly lion race experts. In the 1,000-flower God Confusion formation, one's spiritual senses were in chaos and their 6 senses were obliterated. For the past few days, the heavenly lion race experts felt as though they were living in a dark sea. They swam and swam in the sea, but they could not swim ashore. A few heavenly lion race experts were on the verge of madness. Mental collapse. Complete madness. Shi Wuxuang opened his vertical eye, and the vertical eye at the center of his brows slowly closed. A murderous aura surged from his body. His anger was overflowing. Aggrieved, it was too aggrieved. He had fallen into a trap without even seeing the person. He had been suffering for the past few days, and he had tried countless ways to get out of the Xian formation, but to no avail. Shi Wuxuang's lungs were about to explode. With his pride, when had he ever suffered such a huge loss? If this were to spread as the heavenly lion imperial family, he would be utterly discredited. Preposterous, preposterous. There are lowly, two-legged sheep here. The silver-haired girl, Shi Han, consoled Shi Wuxuang. Big brother Shi, it's not our fault this time. The people from All Stars College are too cunning. This is a formation, and it's impossible to guard against it. Even the elders wouldn't dare to say that they would come out unscathed in the face of this formation. Although she consoled Shi Wuxuang, a trace of hesitation flashed across Shi Han's beautiful face. This time, there was clearly a Xian formation master among the group of All Stars College experts that were chasing them. Shi Han was extremely fearful of Xian formation masters. Xian formation masters were like moving fortresses, and this kind of hard bone was extremely hard to chew. However, she couldn't persuade Shi Wuxuang to give up. Moreover, Shi Han also knew that with Shi Wuxuang's pride, he definitely wouldn't let this matter rest after suffering such a huge loss. Chase. It doesn't matter if he is a Xian formation master or not. Since he dares to provoke me, Shi Wuxuang, I will definitely tear him into pieces. After a series of angry roars, Shi Wuxuang snorted coldly. His figure turned into a golden light and chased after Qin Feng and the others. Shi Wuxuang's killing intent was unbearable, and he only wanted to kill people to vent this evil fire. Shi Han was helpless, and her eyes revealed a trace of worry. Shi Han had a feeling that something bad was about to happen. After a slight hesitation, Shi Han saw that everyone was chasing after them. She flew to the side of a rock and waved her hand, and a few streaks of pure and holy light true power formed a very special imprint on the side of the rock. Light superior, serious, serious. Once the demon temple experts found this imprint, they would chase after them. Shi Han muttered to herself, "Big brother Shi, don't blame Shi Han. This is also for your safety. Although your aptitude is exceptional and you have inherited the bloodline of the three-eyed lion emperor, you still haven't subdued the instincts in your bloodline. You can't completely refine your bloodline and become one with yourself. That Xian formation master is cunning and ruthless, and he is very difficult to deal with. One more person means one more power. Shi Han can't stop you from taking revenge, but she also can't put you in danger." Shi Han cultivated the light heavenly lion royal family's inherited secret technique, the Light Wisdom Fundamental Sutra. This technique had a lot of elaboration on the path of prophecy. Shi Han was now able to foresee danger. Shi Han left the imprint and immediately left. The entrance of the gourd valley was small, but the stomach was big. The area inside was vast. Following Qin Feng, the group turned here and there and gradually went deep into the interior of the gourd valley. This natural maze was abnormally complicated. If it wasn't for Qin Feng, an array grandmaster, ordinary array grandmasters wouldn't be able to enter this maze valley. "Why are there so many gourd vines here?" Lin Jiqiu muttered. She excitedly took out a small yellow gourd. Fresh spirit energy flowed on the gourd. The gourd was sparkling, translucent, and overflowing with colors. This was a spirit gourd plucked from a 1,000-year-old gourd vine. It was already a half-spirit item and was best used to store fine wine and spirit pills. Moreover, it could also nurture spirit wine and pills. Qin Feng looked up and saw clusters of green vines crawling all over the surrounding mountain walls. A dense aura of vitality flowed. This place was filled with gourd vines. Entering this valley was like entering the ancestral land of the gourd. Gourd roots were everywhere. Among the green leaves, countless small emerald green gourds swayed among the spirit vines. It was very pleasing. These gourds were full of vitality and abnormally lush. However, it was still extremely rare to see a 1,000-year-old gourd root. Lin Jichio's eyes were sharp, so she picked up a big bargain. The others looked envious. If this treasure was placed in All-Stars College, it would be worth at least 100 points. If it was nurtured well, it might be able to evolve into a spirit item. I found it. Senior Sister Shiwilian seems to be over there. Suddenly, Yi Qinghua spoke. She pointed ahead. It was a stone forest area with dense fog. This is the second update. The third, fourth, and fifth updates are all in the afternoon. The sixth update is in the evening. Chapter 278. Following Yi Qinghua's gaze, Qin Feng's eyes landed on the stone forest. This was the place with the densest spirit qi in the entire valley. This was the core of the maze formation. Generally speaking, the core of a natural formation would be guarded by a spirit object. The spirit object in such a huge gourd cave must be extraordinary. This senior sister Shiwilian is really lucky. Qin Feng sighed softly. This senior sister Shiwilian was able to break into such a powerful natural formation and even enter the core of the formation unscathed. This kind of luck could only be said to be a fortuitous encounter. When luck came, it could not be stopped. Junior brother, should we go in and explore? Yi Qinghua's gaze fell on the central stone forest. Yi Qinghua could also see that this was the core of the natural maze formation. It was very likely that there was an extremely rare spirit object here. Lin Jiqiu, Hao Lianqing, and the others also looked at Qin Feng with excitement. Without Qin Feng, this place would be a land of death. No one would dare to enter. However, with Qin Feng as their backer, this place would become their treasure-hunting paradise. Not only were they not afraid of the core of the natural formation, but they also wanted to take a look and broaden their horizons. Long Ling stood 10 feet away and stared at Qin Feng with bright eyes. You guys don't need to go in. Just stay here. This stone forest is the core of the natural maze. There might be some unpredictable dangers. When the time comes, I may not be able to guarantee your safety. You guys should stay outside. Qin Feng's gaze fell on the surroundings and saw that everyone's expressions were changing. Qin Feng said, there should be some hidden 1,000-year-old gourd vines or even 1,000-year-old gourd roots. If you guys have the opportunity, you can go look for it. However, don't wander around carelessly. Otherwise, if you get caught in the formation, it might be very troublesome. A 1,000-year-old gourd spirit root was extremely precious. However, if they could find one that was more than a few thousand years old, they would be rich. If a gourd spirit root could be brought back to All-Stars College and planted in the Spirit Mountain Blessed Land, it could be said to be an endless gold mine. A bottle gourd produced by a 1,000-year-old bottle gourd was a treasure of heaven and earth. It possessed all kinds of inconceivable divine abilities. It could swallow and spit out flames, blow out divine wind, poisonous sand, or control lightning. This was a rare treasure of heaven and earth. Even some great figures' eyes would go red when they saw it, and they would take action to fight over it. If a 1,000-year-old gourd spirit root could produce such a treasure endlessly, he would be rich if he could find such a treasure. If he could obtain such a gourd, he would be able to raise his strength by several levels. If he ran into the experts of the Demon Temple, he would be able to obtain more treasures. Lin Jiqiu, Hao Lianqing, and even Yi Qinghua were excited. The few of them gave up on the idea of following Qin Feng into the stone forest. Finding treasures was the most important thing. The group of people spread out and began to search for opportunities and try their luck. Even Zhang Xian made a rare move. The more this Qin Feng talks like this, the more suspicious this stone forest is. Maybe the most precious treasure here is in the stone forest. Damn it, these people were moved by his words and lost the watermelon for the sesame seed. Long Ling stared at Qin Feng. She was different from the others. She instinctively felt that Qin Feng was sending everyone away so that he could search for treasures by himself. Long Ling was a bit unwilling, but she didn't dare to follow Qin Feng alone. Qin Feng's strength was too tyrannical, and he was proficient in formations. This place was Qin Feng's world. Qin Feng's eyes swept over and focused on Long Ling Er's face for a moment. With just a glance, Qin Feng guessed most of her thoughts. Qin Feng sneered. This woman was truly greedy. If it wasn't for Qin Feng, they wouldn't even be able to enter. Now, she still wanted to compete with him for treasures. Qin Feng turned around and walked into the stone forest. As soon as Qin Feng entered the stone forest, it was as if he had entered a giant chessboard. The surroundings were complicated, and the white fog made it impossible to see the sun. Qin Feng walked around. After 2 hours, he appeared at the place where he had just entered the stone forest. Interesting. What a complicated maze, but it won't be difficult for me. After contemplating for a moment, Qin Feng took a step forward. After that, he retreated 2 steps before taking another 3 steps forward. The length of each step was the same, not an inch more nor an inch less. After that, he took a step forward, and with just a single step, the heavens and earth actually changed. All the fog dissipated as a bluestone path appeared before his eyes. With a smile on his face, Qin Feng stepped on the bluestone and walked down the path. Gradually, a towering stone forest appeared in front of him. A gigantic gourd vine that was as thick as a 1,000-year-old tree appeared in front of him. This gourd vine stem was like a horned dragon. It was attached to a towering stone pillar, and its leaves were swaying in the wind. The leaves were the size of lotus leaves. It vaguely reached into the clouds. The roots are so thick. How old is it? Qin Feng was stunned. This gourd vine was too thick, and its roots seemed to reach into the sky. Qin Feng gulped. This was a real gourd root. He was right. There was a 1,000-year-old gourd spirit root here. Looking at the growth of the gourd vine, it should be at least 2,000 years old. I'm rich. I'm rich this time. If I can get 1 or 2 spirit gourds, I won't have to worry about being surrounded by those demon temple geniuses. Qin Feng jumped up. Using the green leaves of the gourd vine, Qin Feng's body shot out like an arrow, and a black shadow rushed up to the stone pillar. After an hour, a black light flashed, and a figure rushed down from the stone pillar. There's nothing. Qin Feng's face turned gloomy as he looked at this 1,000-year-old gourd vine. There were no spirit gourds on this gourd vine, as he had expected. There were only a few small green gourds. These gourds had not matured and were not of much use. Could it be that these spirit gourds were eaten by insects before they matured? Guessing in his heart, Qin Feng felt helpless. Qin Feng knew that some geniuses were often accompanied by calamities because of the good fortune of heaven and earth. This gourd spirit root had outstanding spirit roots, so it was easy to attract mutated insects to eat it. This spirit gourd was the weakest before it matured. Only when it matured would it have the texture of diamond and be supported by the power of heaven and earth. It would have incredible divine powers. Qin Feng looked at this gourd spirit root and felt a little envious. However, there was no life in the Jade Sea heaven and earth, so this gourd spirit root could not be transplanted. Qin Feng continued forward. After a few minutes, Qin Feng encountered a second gourd spirit root. This gourd spirit root was even thicker, and its veins were plump. It seemed to be even older. However, Qin Feng still couldn't find anything even after searching it once. Qin Feng wrung his hands and paused for a moment before continuing to explore. After 100 steps, Qin Feng's eyes lit up as he saw a 10 feet tall gourd spirit root. This gourd spirit root was emerald green like agate, and its leaf veins emitted a round spirit light. Compared to the previous 2, it looked very petite. At a glance, one could tell that it was not old, at most 2,000 years old. However, Qin Feng knew at a glance that this gourd spirit root was of a higher quality than the previous 2. It was a mutated gourd spirit root. It was an innate spirit root, not an acquired one. Qin Feng just raised his head and saw a big blue gourd in the fat green leaves of the spirit vine above his head. This gourd glowed with spirit light and swayed with the wind. It was very pleasing. This is the 3rd update. There's still 3 more updates. Chapter 279. Qin Feng originally thought that this spiritual gourd might have all been taken away by senior sister Xiulian. whom he had never met. Unexpectedly, there was a glimmer of hope at the end of the tunnel. Looking at the swaying blue gourd on this strange gourd spirit root, Qin Feng revealed a slightly happy expression. He flew up and easily plucked this mature blue gourd spirit root. This spiritual gourd was cold to the touch, like a cold jade. As the gourd left the spiritual vine, Qin Feng was surprised to see that this blue spiritual gourd gradually changed. The blue color gradually faded, and wisps of cold air surged up, and it turned into an ice crystal-like gourd. This was an ice seal gourd. Rubbing the small gourd's crystal texture, Qin Feng seemed to see the color of ice and snow, as if the essence of ancient glaciers was contained in it. Shocked, Qin Feng's heart took a breath of cold air. Qin Feng had an intuition that if he opened the mouth of the gourd, he would be able to erupt with unimaginable power. Thousands of miles of ice, thousands of miles of snow. It's really a good treasure. With fiery eyes, Qin Feng fondly stroked this small gourd. This ice-sealed gourd was definitely an extremely rare treasure of heaven and earth. He casually put this treasure gourd into the Azure Sea World. There was a cold soul spirit spring in the Azure Sea World. If this ice-sealed gourd was placed in the cold soul spirit spring for a period of time, its power might increase to another level. At this moment, this strange gourd's spiritual vine was already empty. A spiritual root only had one spiritual gourd. This item was truly extremely precious. Raising his head, Qin Feng glanced at this gourd's spiritual root with fiery eyes. Qin Feng was extremely regretful. If possible, Qin Feng really wanted to transplant this treasure. It's a pity that in the Chaos 5 Directions sky, only the Azure Sea World and the Azurewood World are born. Only when the Azurewood World is born will there be vitality in the world and be able to accommodate living creatures. Qin Feng continued to walk forward. In the stone forest, stone pillars stood in great numbers, looking very empty and barren. After wandering in this vast stone forest for 4 hours, Qin Feng encountered several 100-year-old gourd vines one after another. He also saw a 1,000-year-old gourd vine. This 1,000-year-old gourd vine bore many spiritual gourds. Qin Feng picked a few and stored them. After an hour, Qin Feng, who was searching towards the depths of the stone forest, suddenly felt that the spiritual energy in front of him was rich. At the same time, the origin of the Azure Sea World trembled more and more. It seems that the formation eye is in front. Qin Feng's eyes lit up as he quickly headed in the direction of the quaking origin source. His speed was even faster than lightning. After dozens of breaths, a huge spiritual spring appeared before Qin's eyes. This was actually another spiritual spring. Qin Feng was slightly taken aback. This was the 4th spirit spring he had seen. The first spring was in the Life Jade Glacier. It was condensed from ice essence, which was the frigid soul spiritual spring. This frigid soul spiritual spring was forcibly absorbed into the Azure Sea World by Qin Feng and opened it. The second spring was on the Scarlet Sky Peak. It was an earth vein spring that contained the essence of the earth vein. The Scarlet Sky Peak's cave guarding spirit item, the Emerald Water Golden Lotus, was rooted in this spiritual spring. This spiritual spring couldn't be touched. It was the public property of All Stars College. The third spring was the 7 Stars Dragon Spring, which was formed from countless years of dragon chi essence in the True Dragon's ancient cave. This spiritual spring was occupied by the True Dragon Divine Wood. It was the True Dragon Divine Wood's exclusive property. However, while the True Dragon Divine Wood was weak, Qin Feng ruthlessly stole over 100 tons. The one in front of him was the 4th spirit spring that Qin Feng had seen. This spiritual spring was a little different. Qin Feng's eyes were burning as he stared fixedly at the flowing spiritual spring. The color was as green as jade and as clear as red jade. This was clearly the spring of life recorded in the ancient books. Qin Feng's body trembled as he sucked in a breath of air. Qin Feng didn't expect this gourd valley to have such a rare treasure. The rich life force essence of this spring was almost tangible. This spring of life was a true healing spring, capable of healing the dead and reviving the bones. Move it, move it! Qin Feng's eyes grew brighter and brighter. Unknowingly, he walked closer. Qin Feng didn't notice that several zhang away, there was a pile of clothes piled up on a rock beside the spring. Splash! Splash! Suddenly, there was the sound of flowing water. Qin Feng's gaze followed the sound and saw black hair cascading down like a waterfall. A naked mermaid appeared in front of him. Her plump snow-white skin moved up and down with the splashes of water. Her tall and exquisite figure drew out an exaggerated curve. Most importantly, Qin Feng followed her gaze and looked down. White, that trace of red, the life of an inch of grass. Rumble. Qin Feng's blood rushed to his head. Qin Feng forcibly operated the art of mixed stars to refine the blood on his nose. This scene was too erotic. Qin Feng's eyes burned with flames, but soon, Qin Feng had a strange feeling. Where have I seen this woman before? Perhaps she didn't expect someone to be able to barge into this place. The beautiful woman was slightly startled. In the next moment, her long, shapely eyebrows slowly rose and a cold light appeared in her phoenix eyes. "It's you again." Taking a closer look, the beautiful woman's expression suddenly became strange. "It's you." The corner of Qin Feng's mouth twitched and a trace of embarrassment appeared in his eyes. Qin Feng also recognized the beautiful woman bathing in the spring of life. This woman was the guardian of the 7th palace in the Snow Domain trial, Venerable Snow Lotus. Could it be that Venerable Snow Lotus was the previous Azure Dragon's first seat, senior sister Snow Lotus? This seemed to be the second time he had seen this senior sister naked. The beautiful woman gritted her teeth. "Qin Feng, it's you again, you peeping Tom." Qin Feng smiled embarrassedly and quickly said, "It's a misunderstanding. A misunderstanding. Senior sister Snow Lotus, this is a coincidence." After saying that, Qin Feng's eyes moved slightly and quietly glanced at this senior sister's exquisite and perfect curves in the spring. What a pair of long legs, what a fair skin. This figure is comparable to that of my future wife. I wonder how it feels to touch. Qin Feng praised in his heart. The beautiful woman in white by the river appeared in his mind, and some dirty thoughts appeared. "You're still looking." Seeing Qin Feng's extremely obscure eyes, Snow Lotus's pretty face turned pale. Only now did she notice that she was naked. A burst of shame and anger rose from her heart. With a loud bang, thousands of water curtains bloomed in the spring of life, forming a wall of water. A short while later, a tall, graceful, and beautiful figure appeared by the spring. She was wearing a white palace dress, elegant and dignified with a hint of charm after taking a bath. Her beautiful face was slightly angry. The beauty waved her white hand, and in the next moment, countless snow lotus petals enveloped Qin Feng from all directions. Thousands of petals drifted down, and each petal was like the world's most terrifying and sharp blade, enough to cut through swords and sabers. Qin Feng's body shook. He wanted to dodge, but in the next moment, he froze in his steps. He thought to himself, "Well, this senior sister Snow Lotus is angry, so I won't dodge. There's no harm in letting her vent her anger. After all, I've taken advantage of her." Standing in the middle of the petals, Qin Feng did not dodge and let the thousands of petals bombard him. Ding, ding, dang, dang. Countless petals fell on Qin Feng's body and made the sound of metal clashing. The thousands of petals could not hurt Qin Feng at all. However, Qin Feng didn't notice that as the 10,000 flower petals bombarded his body, his clothes were completely destroyed. His naked body was thus exposed in front of the snow lotuses. Shameless. There's still 2 more chapters. This is considered a catch-up. The 9th and 10th chapters will be added at night. Chapter 280. Shameless Asshole. Shuelyan's cheeks flushed red. She clenched her teeth and resisted the urge to go berserk. She didn't know why that ugly thing kept appearing in front of her. Shuelyan's chest heaved up and down. She had the urge to beat him up. His clothes were destroyed. Seeing Shuelyan's flustered and exasperated look, Qin Feng woke up from his dream. No wonder he felt cold all over. Qin Feng quickly took out a set of clothes from the Jade Sea heaven and earth. Cough, cough. After a moment, Qin Feng laughed dryly. Shuai Yin turned around and glared at the laughing black-robed youth. She was about to make a move. Qin Feng quickly stopped her. "Senior sister Shuai Yin, please wait. I have something to say." Shuai Yin's face was cold. Her raised arm froze in midair. She bit her lips and snorted. "Stupid asshole, what else do you have to say?" Shuai Yin coldly stared at the black-robed youth. Many thoughts flashed through her mind. Ever since she saw his body, Shuai Yin had a very complicated feeling. Her first thought was to teach this brat a lesson. So after knowing that Qin Feng was participating in the Hidden Dragon Points competition, Shuai Yin had always wanted to find Qin Feng. But she never thought that the next time she saw Qin Feng would be in such a situation. Also, Qin Feng's strength shocked her. Half a year ago, Qin Feng's strength was only at the 7th level of the martial path. At that time, Qin Feng gave her the feeling that he was just an ant. But now, he gave her an abnormally strong feeling. He was actually able to faintly share the limelight with her and be on par with her. Shuai Yin's gaze fell on the black-robed youth. Shuai Yin knew some secret techniques that could see through a martial artist. Shuai Yin quietly used the secret technique. But when she used her secret art to spy on Qin Feng, she only felt that he was like a terrifying primordial star in the Milky Way. The light he emitted was as vast as the Milky Way. That kind of power was vast and mighty, like the waves of the vast ocean, causing her heart to tremble. The surging star true power was like a raging river. How can there be such tyrannical, true power? Shuai Yin's expression did not change, but her heart was trembling violently. What's going on? He's obviously only at the 13th heavenly layer of the martial Tao. How can he have such tyrannical star true power? This kind of terrifying true power, even I can't compare to it. Shuai Yin clearly knew how many fortuitous encounters she had gone through in order to have such a body of true power. What she practiced was the peak of the foundation establishment cultivation method, and had also broken through to the pulse condensation stage at the 13th heavenly layer. And this time, he even encountered the spring of life, which increased his star true power by 3 to 4 times. The quality of his true power was also cleansed by the spring of life, greatly increasing. However, such terrifying true power was still not comparable to Qin Feng, who was at the 13th heavenly layer of the martial way. This senior sister Shuai Yin seems to have had a fortuitous encounter too. Her strength is so strong, far stronger than Long Ling Er. Senior sister Ye's strength is not inferior to mine at all. While Shuai Yin was sizing up Qin Feng was also using a secret technique to pry into this senior sister Shuai Yin's strength. In Qin Feng's eyes, Shuai Yin was like a cold and proud star. An extremely rich life force flowed around her, and her entire body seemed to be condensed from life essence. Her true power was pure and flawless, and had already reached the peak of high grade. Normal true power could not reach such a level. If the quality of true power was divided into several grades, from low to high, it could be divided into the following grades: normal, pure, flawless, and heavenly Tao. This senior sister Shuai Yin's true power had definitely reached the peak of flawless. Her true power flowed without a trace of impurity, as pure as ice and snow. With a thought, her strength was like a Vajra true dragon. Qin Feng guessed that this might be related to the spring of life. After being cleansed by the spring of life, the quality of her true power had already risen to a limit. She was about to break through to the heavenly Tao layer. It must be known that only those who had refined the extreme Tao heaven and earth seed and broke through to the pulse condensation stage would be able to condense true power of such quality. At the same level, the higher the quality of one's true power, the greater the advantage. If Shuai Yin only had pure true power at this moment, Qin Feng would be able to completely suppress her in one strike. A lower quality true power, in front of a higher quality true power, would not be able to withstand a single blow. It would be like a piece of paper in front of Vajra true power, easily pierced through. Obviously, Shuai Yin also saw this point. She was abnormally afraid of Qin Feng, which was why she did not make a move. Otherwise, she would have taught Qin Feng a lesson. While using a secret technique to spy, Qin Feng said with a smile on his face, "Senior sister Xuelian, this time we have a misunderstanding. This time, I came here with senior sister Yi Qinghua to pursue your aura. It was just that when we entered this place, we did not notice senior sister bathing here, so we were a bit rash. However, it was purely an unintentional mistake." Junior sister Yi Qinghua also came. Xuelian's expression changed. For the time being, she believed Qin Feng's excuse. Of course, if Qin Feng's strength was too weak, Xuelian would not mind beating him up before talking. However, Qin Feng's strength was too strong now. She might not be able to gain the upper hand in a fight. If she really insisted, she might even be taken advantage of by Qin Feng. Of course, senior sister Yi is just outside the stone forest. Senior sister can verify it. As Qin Feng spoke, his gaze fell on the spring of life. This spring of life was a good thing. Not only could it purify the body and nourish the vitality, it could also cleanse the bones and increase the quality of true power. Xuelian followed Qin Feng's gaze, and her eyes moved. Junior brother Qin Feng, could it be that you also have your eyes on the spirit spring? However, this item already belongs to senior sister. Junior brother, you better not have any ideas. Senior sister, you are wrong. Treasures of heaven and earth are nurtured by the heavens and earth. They do not have an owner. Those who are virtuous can obtain them. Qin Feng shook his head and refuted. Furthermore, this spirit spring is rooted here. Senior sister cannot move it away, or even collect it. How can it be yours? Xuelian sneered. Junior brother, you are twisting words and forcing logic. It is true that those who are virtuous can obtain it, but it is always about first come, first serve. Your senior sister, I, have been cultivating here for more than half a month. This item was first discovered by me. Naturally, it belongs to me. As for the latter part, that is nonsense. This spirit spring is rooted in the earth veins and uses the essence of heaven and earth as nourishment. It is smelted and nurtured into a pool. How can it be moved? Qin Feng chuckled. Whether it can be moved or not, senior sister, you have the final say. After saying that, Qin Feng glanced at Xuelian. He rolled his eyes and said, Senior sister, why don't the two of us make a bet? If I can move this spirit spring, this item will belong to me. How about that? Xuelian sneered. What if you can't move it? Qin Feng said. If I can't move it, I will leave immediately. Xuelian looked at Qin Feng suspiciously. Xuelian was hesitant. Qin Feng looked too calm. He seemed to be making a solemn vow. Could it be that there was a trap? However, Xuelian instinctively felt that it was impossible. Although this spirit spring seemed to be in the earth veins, it was actually nurtured by heaven and earth and rooted in the depths of space. The pool in the middle of the stone forest was just a reflection. In fact, this spirit spring of life was hidden in the depths of space. Even if Qin Feng could use his magical power to dig out a section of the earth, it was impossible to move this spirit spring. But this kid is so cunning. I'm afraid there is really a problem. Xuelian actually didn't want to bet at all. However, Qin Feng's strength was tyrannical. If she didn't bet, Qin Feng wouldn't give up. Xuelian thought about it and still believed that Qin Feng couldn't move the spirit spring. She immediately nodded and said, Okay, I agree to your request. Qin Feng was overjoyed. So, it's a deal. A smile appeared on Qin Feng's face. His smile was like a little fox that had stolen a chicken. Looking at the sly smile on Qin Feng's face, Xuelian had an extremely bad feeling. My hand hurts. I've written too much. The speed has slowed down. The 6th update is around 12 o'clock. Chapter 281. Qin Feng's lips curled into a smile. It was true that the spring of life was rooted in the depths of the void. Generally speaking, only those who had opened up their inner world had the ability to drag the spring of life out of the void and collect it. However, Qin Feng wasn't in the same category. After dozens of steps, Qin Feng arrived in front of the spring of life. The spring of life surged in front of him, and a red light surged. The spring water was as red as blood essence. A dense life essence rushed towards him. With a slight breath, a wisp of life essence was sucked into his lungs. His 5 viscera and 6 bowels were filled with warmth. The star true force in his body was cleansed and flowed with a silver light. Every inch of his body was cleansed, and the impurities were completely removed. Seeing Qin Feng absorbing the life essence like a dragon, Shuai Yin's eyes flashed as she guessed in her heart. This brat isn't trying to take advantage of this, right? Her beautiful eyes flashed as she shouted coldly. Qin Feng, don't try to be mysterious. If you can't, just admit defeat. I admit defeat? Qin Feng snorted and glanced at Shuai Yin. You'll feel heartache later. Qin Feng's eyes fell on the void. With a stroke of his hands, an invisible force appeared in the void. Qin Feng's star, true force, surged into the gap, and in an instant, there was an explosion in the void. A pitch-black gap appeared in the void, like an evil mouth that suddenly opened. This is the power of space? How is this possible? Shuai Yin's body trembled, and she lost her composure. How is this possible? How can Qin Feng control the power of space? This power of space is something that only Sea Reincarnation Realm experts can touch. Qin Feng is only at the 13th level of the martial Tao. How can he control the power of space? Shuai Yin couldn't be blamed for losing her composure. This power of space was extraordinary. Among the countless attributes, space was king and time was supreme. This was the most terrifying power in the world. Could it be some kind of treasure with the power of space? Shuai Yin guessed in her heart, and her expression changed. If that was the case, then it was terrible. At this moment, a strange phenomenon appeared in the sky. Shuai Yin raised her head. With just a glance, her expression changed. A huge force was condensing in the sky, and an invisible suction force was born in the void. The endless abyss opened its big mouth, and it couldn't wait to devour this spring of life. Rumble! A thunderous roar resounded in the void. Qin Feng's eyes sharpened. He gritted his teeth and increased his strength. In the endless void, a spirit spring condensed from rich vitality was slowly dragged from the void towards the endless abyss. This spirit spring was already an extremely high-grade treasure of heaven and earth. It already had spirituality, so it naturally didn't want to be captured. It wanted to escape, so it turned into a streak of green light and struggled with all its might. How can I let you escape? Qin Feng sneered again and again. How could he let a duck that was already in his mouth run away? Qin Feng's star, true power poured into the abyssal demon diagram in his mind without reservation. The power of the endless abyss increased greatly. With a huge force, the abyssal demon diagram in his mind felt the benefits of the spring of life and suddenly moved. It turned into a pitch-black demon chain that broke through the void and locked the spring of life. In the next moment, the spring of life was pulled by the huge force into the endless abyss. Rumble! When the spring of life fell into the endless abyss, there was a huge change. This spring of life fell into the extreme east of the azure sea, heaven, and earth, turning into a spring of life. It was the opposite of the ice soul spirit spring in the extreme west. After the spring of life merged with the azure sea, heaven, and earth, a rich vitality essence spread into heaven and earth. The entire azure sea, heaven, and earth had a huge change. An invisible rhythm shook Qin Feng's soul. The entire heaven and earth seemed to have come alive. This feeling was very mysterious. The entire heaven and earth had life and was no longer a mass of death. Suddenly, at this moment, a streak of green light shot out from the spring of life and fell into the depths of the void. This aura is... Qin Feng's eyes fell on this green light in shock. This was a fragment of a tree. It was the size of a palm and had no roots. The wood was emerald green, like jade. Although this fragment was small, it seemed to have condensed the vitality of the heavens. Could this be a fragment of the chaos divine tree? Qin Feng's mind was shaken. When his eyes fell on this fragment, it was as if he was going to melt it. The Chaos Divine Tree was the legendary world tree, also known as the Builder Tree. It was said that in ancient times, this Chaos Divine Tree was the backbone that supported heaven and earth. It had all kinds of inconceivable powers. But later on, in a legendary battle between the gods, the primordial divine emperor cut down this tree. Since then, this world tree had disappeared. The Chaos Divine Tree was cut down and shattered into countless pieces. Countless fragments were scattered all over the world. It was rumored that most of them had been taken away by the ancient experts. Qin Feng's eyes lit up. Even though the fragments of the primal Chaos Divine Tree were shattered, every single one of them was an unparalleled treasure. A fragment was comparable to some heaven-grade spiritual items. Countless sources of the endless abyss flowed and quietly descended from the void, injecting light into this Chaos Divine Tree fragment. The Chaos Divine Tree fragment floated in the void and continuously absorbed the endless abyss's sources. After the endless abyss absorbed a portion of the heaven and earth sources, a trace of vitality appeared on the Chaos Divine Tree fragment. That's right, it was like a withered tree coming back to life. A rich vitality concept appeared. Kacha, kacha. It was like spring thunder. Qin Feng could even see that along with the emergence of this intent realm, a small bud was growing out of the tree fragment. The moment this sprout grew out, the entire world shook. A dense wood-like aura was emitted and rushed into the sky. Under this wood-like aura, the vitality of heaven and earth was almost at its peak. A huge hole was opened in the sky, leading to the endless abyss. A rich stream of chaos yuan qi flowed down. This sprout seemed to be directly connected to the endless abyss. Waves of chaos yuan qi were attracted, and the sprout grew rapidly. Rustle, rustle. This piece of wood became the best nourishment for this sprout. In just a dozen breaths, this sprout grew into a small sapling. This was a strange sapling. It was only as tall as a child and was emerald green. Its roots were very active and floated in the void. The roots seemed to be rooted in the endless abyss and seemed to be absorbing nourishment from the endless abyss. Its leaves were round, and there was a kind of texture in the veins. It was like the great Tao of heaven and earth. It was like a heavenly book that made people dizzy. The moment it was born, it immediately became the core of the endless abyss. It absorbed nourishment and created a continent with a radius of hundreds of miles. The leaves swayed and rustled. It was like the most primitive Tao sound in the heaven and earth awakening vitality. The sapling breathed, forming clouds and thunder. From afar, the leaves breathed, and a primordial aura began to fill the endless abyss. This primordial aura formed all kinds of auras. Earth, water, wind, fire, thunder, extreme yang, minor yang, mystic yang, jade yang, true yang, extreme yin, nine underworld, and so on. The endless abyss seemed to become colorful. It was no longer singular, but filled with all kinds of changes. World Tree. At the same time, when the World Tree was formed, a strange aura from the World Tree rushed into the seed of heaven and earth in Qin Feng's body. In an instant, the star true power in Qin Feng's body began to undergo an indescribable and mysterious change. This is the 6th update. My hands are weak. Please support me. Chapter 282. In Qin Feng's body, the wind and clouds surged, but in the outside world, it only took an instant. Shuilian trembled in anger. She glared at Qin Feng. Qin Feng actually dragged the spirit spring out from the depths of the void. She'd been tricked. Shuilian tightened her grip on her sword as she pondered whether to take back the spirit spring. At this moment, Qin Feng's eyes were closed. His body was undergoing an inconceivable and mysterious change. After the World Tree sprouted, it instilled a mysterious power into him. The mysterious and indescribable aura from the World Tree was like a clear spring, fusing into Qin Feng's seed of heaven and earth, causing an unprecedented change to the shining silver seed. The shining silver seed of heaven and earth originally contained many sources of origin, such as the power of the sea, the power of the stars, the power of calamities, the power of blood, the power of wind, and so on. Although it was majestic, it was also abnormally complex. The appearance of this mysterious heavenly Tao source of origin caused a mysterious change to the seed of heaven and earth. One of the sources of energy actively fused into the seed of heaven and earth. This was the star True Power, cultivated from the art of the mixed stars. The star True Power grew rapidly, as if it had undergone a qualitative change, revealing a lofty and eternal aura. This was the quality of the heavenly Tao. Qin Feng was a little dumbfounded. After absorbing a trace of the world tree's source of origin, the star True Power directly broke through a bottleneck that Qin Feng could not reach no matter how hard he tried. The quality of the star True Power was more than 10 times stronger. It was like a giant dragon, rushing forward and devouring all the other sources of energy in the seed of heaven and earth. All techniques return to one. The heavenly Tao is impermanent. At the same time, many mysteries of the stars surged from the natal star mark and entered the silver light of the seed of heaven and earth, helping it to transform. The entire seed of heaven and earth turned into a pure silver light. Qin Feng could feel that although the powers he comprehended were devoured by the star True Power, they did not disappear. Their characteristics were all devoured, refined, and fused into the star True Power. The upper-grade heaven and earth seed had evolved into the extreme Tao seed, and it was almost a matter of course. This heaven Tao hair-grade star True Power merged into the meridians, tempering Qin Feng's entire body. The 8 desolation indestructible mysterious technique was tempered by the true power of the heavenly Tao technique, and it immediately improved by another level. Many of the hidden dangers were eliminated, and some of the imperfections were immediately exposed to an aura of eternal perfection. At the same time, this true force penetrated deep into the meridians, devouring all the yuan qi, blood qi, and foreign forces in the meridians and merging them into the star force. Crackle, crackle. In the process of being refined by the star power, countless impurities hidden in the body were being refined and devoured, dispersing into the primeval natural power to be refined by the star power. This was the special characteristic of the star True Power of the heavenly Tao technique. It was not restricted to any kind of powerful true power, poison gas, or any other kind of power. As long as it came into contact with the star True Power, it would melt and scatter. It would return to its origin and become primordial true power to be refined by the true power. After an unknown period of time, Qin Feng's aura shook, as if he had broken through a bottleneck. The star True Power turned into a river of stars that flowed in his body. The majestic river of stars absorbed all the primordial chaotic unity chi in the meridians and became stronger and stronger. The bottleneck from the 13th heavenly layer of the martial way to the meridian stage was easily torn apart. Like water flowing through a canal, Qin Feng naturally broke through to the meridian stage. This kind of breakthrough was soundless. Shuo Yan was the one who felt it the most. She felt that the aura of the black-robed youth with his eyes closed suddenly disappeared, as if he had disappeared from the world. But when she took a closer look, he was still there. He was high and mighty, emitting a mighty aura that looked down on all living things. She used all her strength to activate the secret technique, trying to see through it. But what shocked her was that she could not see through the black-robed youth's cultivation level. She only felt that his aura was as vast as the sea. A terrifying sense of danger arose in her heart, and she felt like she was an ant in front of the black-robed youth. Shuo Yan's face changed. This is impossible. His aura just now is only on par with mine. This must be an illusion. That's impossible. Could it be that he borrowed the support of the treasure on his body that can absorb the spirit spring? At this moment, Qin Feng suddenly opened his eyes. His gaze was calm and silent, without the slightest hint of abnormality. Shuo Yan's heart jumped. Facing this pair of calm eyes, She felt like she was an ant, and the other party was like an insurmountable mountain, so strong that her hair stood on end. Shuilian's heart unconsciously became fearful. This is an illusion. This is definitely an illusion. I am an elite of the Meridian Stage's second secret realm, the extreme yellow secret realm. I have also been cleansed by the spring of life and refined the highest quality ice river true power. How could I have such a feeling? Shuilian's eyes were filled with shock and fear. She unconsciously lowered her aura. She did not dare to fight. Qin Feng glanced at Shuilian. Seeing Shuilian's frightened look, he suddenly grinned. After cultivating the heavenly Tao technique and successfully advancing to the Meridian stage, Qin Feng was more than 10 times stronger than before. If he met the previous him again, he could easily pinch him to death with one finger. Although the current Qin Feng had just advanced to the Meridian stage and was only in the extreme human stage, the Meridian stage's first secret realm, he was absolutely invincible in the same stage. Moreover, even if he encountered the Meridian stage's yellow realm, black realm, earth realm, or even heavenly realm, he could easily suppress them. Qin Feng, who had cultivated the heavenly Tao technique, could be considered a true monstrous genius. Senior sister Shuilian, this time I win. Qin Feng's gaze fell on Shuilian. The beautiful woman raised her eyebrows. She instinctively wanted to turn hostile and take back the spirit spring. However, in the next moment, a trace of helplessness rose in her heart. The pressure that Qin Feng gave Shuilian was too great. Once I make a move, I'm afraid it will be dangerous. The woman was also decisive. Seeing that things were not going well, she immediately said, "A bet is a bet. Junior brother Qin Feng, I have lost to you this time. However, this spirit spring is only temporarily with you. Once my cultivation is successful, I will definitely seek your guidance again." If that's the case, thank you, senior sister Shuilian. Qin Feng chuckled. Having cultivated the heavenly Tao technique's true force, he was not afraid of anyone's challenge. Let's go. Let's head out first. I believe the people outside are getting impatient from waiting. With that said, Qin Feng turned around and led the way out. Shuilian's expression changed. She glanced at Qin Feng with her beautiful eyes before silently following. Darn hooligan, you took advantage of me and even cheated me of the spirit spring. Once I'm successful in my cultivation, I will definitely make you suffer. Shuilian's expression was cold. The black-robed youth in front of her had left a bad impression on her. Liar, hooligan, pervert, peeping Tom. Nearly every word that could be thought of was associated with Qin Feng. While passing by the stone forest, Qin Feng transplanted the 3 calabash spirit roots into the chaos heavens. At that moment, in the core of the chaos 5 directions heavens, the Jade Sea world and Jadewood world had already opened. Furthermore, with the world tree suppressing them, they could already accommodate life. Furthermore, with the world tree suppressing the inner worlds, the chaos heavens' potential far exceeded the limits that Qin Feng had imagined. After transplanting the 3 calabash spirit roots, they bathed in the world trees aura day and night. It was even possible for their quality to advance. He glanced at the 3 calabash spirit roots that had been transplanted into the land veins beneath the world tree's feet. Qin Feng's eyes flickered as he thought to himself, "Next, I need to find fire elemental spiritual items to open the lava world. Every time one of the 5 directions heavens is opened, the chaos heavens will be complete. When the 5 directions heavens are opened, the endless worlds will be completely opened. This is the first update. The second update will be in the afternoon. The third and fourth updates will be in the afternoon. There will be more updates in the evening." Chapter 283. This swindler really has a space treasure, and it's a high-grade space treasure that can store living things. Shuilian was secretly shocked as she watched this scene. At the same time, she clenched her teeth. She had been tricked. What a heavy loss. After advancing to the Meridian's condensation period, Qin Feng's 6 senses had fused, and he had already opened the 7th sense. He naturally could feel the anger in Shuilian's eyes. Qin Feng smiled and put away the 3 gourd spirit roots that were over 2,000 years old. Qin Feng was in a good mood. Rumble. At this moment, an earth-shattering roar came from the sky. It was as if the sky had split open. Boom! Qin Feng raised his head. Like the sound of thunder cracking, the dense fog in the sky began to dissipate. The dense fog in the surroundings began to rise. The brilliant sunlight appeared in the misty valley for the first time. This natural formation has been broken. Qin Feng's eyes moved slightly. Obviously, the spring of life and the fragment of the world tree in the spring of life were the eyes of this natural formation. Now that the eyes of the formation had been dug out, the formation had lost its suppression and was about to break. Shulian's eyes turned, and she also thought of the reason. She fiercely glared at Qin Feng. Shulian was a little angry. This place was originally a natural fortress. As long as she was in the formation, the Demon Temple's powerhouses would not be able to do anything to her. Now that the formation was broken, she would have to start her days of hiding again. Shulian sighed, and a trace of worry appeared on her beautiful face. Let's go. With the formation broken, there was no longer any restraint. Qin Feng's eyes lit up, and his body turned into a black light, instantly crossing thousands of feet. As his body sped forward, Qin Feng found that after advancing to the meridian's condensation period, his speed had increased by more than 10 times. His body became lighter, and he turned into a gust of wind, faster than the wind. After an hour, Qin Feng left the stone forest. Outside, 2 groups of people were confronting each other. The situation was a little tragic. The air was filled with a murderous atmosphere. When the group of people saw a tyrannical aura appear out of nowhere, they were all taken aback. After seeing who it was, Yi Qinghua and the others were overjoyed. Jiang Binger shouted, "Senior brother Qin Feng." At the same time, a white light flashed, and a beautiful woman in white clothes walked out of the dense white fog. Yi Qinghua and the others took a closer look and were all overjoyed. Senior sister Shulian. Shulian's beautiful eyes moved slightly as she nodded. Junior sister Yi, junior sister Long, junior sister Jiang. So you guys are here too. Qin Feng's eyes flickered as his gaze fell upon a tall and beautiful woman in a black robe in the distance. Then, Qin Feng's nose twitched slightly. Qin Feng saw 2 corpses lying on the ground. Qin Feng's pupils shrank slightly. Lin Jiqiu, Hao Yinqing. Both of them were dead. The wounds were on their necks. Both of them had their necks slit, cutting off their life force. Qin Feng's eyes were a little gloomy. Lin Jiqiu was carrying a long saber on his back. When he died, he was still holding a small gourd, which he seemed to be holding like a treasure. He still had a smile on his face. However, at this time, the smile had already stiffened, and the joy in his eyes froze. He was killed by a sudden sneak attack. Qin Feng was a little emotional. These people came in with him. A few days ago, they were still pestering him, asking for martial arts advice, and coveting his spirit fruits. Now they were dead. Qin Feng raised his head and turned around. Long Ling, Yi Qinghua, and Wang Yu were also injured. Wang Yu was the most seriously injured. She was missing her right arm. She held her broken arm and leaned against the mountain rock. Blood dyed her skirt red, and her delicate face was pale. Long Ling was a little better. Yi Qinghua's green clothes were indeed dyed red. Her breath was fluctuating, and her breathing was rapid. Zhang Xin's condition was a little better. Although there were bloodstains on his body, his aura was strong. His eyes were sharp, and he stood by the side with his sword. Seeing Qin Feng arrive, Zhang Xin's eyes moved slightly, but his face was expressionless. Qin Feng asked Yi Qinghua, who was beside him, "What's going on? Who is she?" As he spoke, Qin Feng looked at the black-robed woman. With just a glance, Qin Feng's eyes were gloomy. The aura of darkness. This is a warrior who cultivates the power of darkness. The darkness attribute and light attribute were both powerful attributes. Among the many attributes, the darkness attribute and the light attribute held an innate advantage. However, darkness and light constitutions were equally rare. Because darkness and light were both high-level origins, The power of yin and yang origins was very difficult to comprehend. However, once one could cultivate darkness' true force, there was no doubt that it would have more advantages than other true forces. At the same time, Shurtong's eyes were also sizing up Qin Feng. However, as soon as she did, her beautiful eyes flickered violently. Shurtong had cultivated some secret techniques to see the truth. With just a glance, the black-robed young man seemed to have turned into a vast galaxy in her eyes. He was high and mighty, like the boundless universe. Shurtong couldn't see through his cultivation at all. When Qin Feng's aura moved slightly, she felt as if thunder had struck her heart. In front of Qin Feng, she was like an ant, so strong. Shurtong's beautiful eyes revealed a trace of fear. How is this possible? How can a two-legged sheep from All Stars College be so strong? On the side, Yi Qinghua looked at Shurtong with hatred. Junior brother Qin Feng, just a moment ago, for some reason, the natural maze suddenly loosened. This woman from the demon temple suddenly appeared in front of us, and then she ambushed all of us. Junior brother Lin, junior brother Hao were all killed by her ambush on the spot. If junior sister Wang was not vigilant, she would have also been killed by her ambush. Yi Qinghua's eyes flashed with anger, fear, and a trace of lingering fear. The black-robed lady in front of her was too scary. Her movement technique was strange. Not to mention her speed, her true power was abnormally strong. It could actually corrode her true Kong defense. Furthermore, she had a strange divine ability which allowed her to dodge through the shadows. She could walk in the shadows and dodge. It was impossible to guard against her. Even with so many people attacking her, she still managed to defeat them one by one. If Qin Feng and Shuel Yin had arrived a moment later, except for Zhang Xian, everyone here would have been killed. Don't worry, leave it to me. Qin Feng looked at the girl in green comfortingly and took a step forward. At this time, Qin Feng seemed to have thought of something and looked at Shuel Yin. Senior sister Shuel Yin, please hold the line. Okay, Shuel Yin said softly, her beautiful eyes indifferent. She was in a bad mood. Meeting an old friend was supposed to be a happy occasion, but she did not expect it to be so tragic. Qin Feng stared at the black-robed woman. Shurtong felt as if she was being stared at by a primordial beast. An indescribable pressure appeared in her heart. After taking a closer look, Qin Feng suddenly thought of something. This girl looks pretty good. She is tall and slender. Her bones and flesh are well proportioned. Her looks are excellent, and her strength is also not bad. That little girl Red Lotus is about to enter the Multi-Star Academy. I need to find a helper for her, otherwise it would be bad if she was bullied by others. This girl in front of me is a good candidate. I can capture her and make her a little maid. You're lucky to be able to become Lady Shuel Yin's maid. Qin Feng moved instantly. Like a whirlwind, he appeared in front of Shurtong in an instant. When he was in front of Shurtong, Qin Feng realized that he was only as tall as Shurtong's shoulder. This woman was really tall. So fast. Shurtong was shocked. In the next moment, her beautiful eyes flashed fiercely. With a flick of her wrist, an invisible sharp blade silently pierced towards the black-robed young man's lower abdomen. Chapter 284. Qin Feng only did one thing in response to the black-robed lady's assassination attempt. He raised his hand and struck out with a palm strike. The terrifying heavenly Tao True Force turned into a river of stars and aimed at the black-robed lady. Shurtong was shocked. She raised her head and saw a Milky Way rushing towards her. The horrifying power was like a vast Milky Way, unstoppable. Her eyes flashed with a trace of fear. In the next moment, she gritted her teeth and channeled the dark true force in her body. Her body burst out in black light, forming an invisible dark true Kong that enveloped her body. At the same time, she retreated rapidly. However, it was useless. Qin Feng's river of stars easily tore through the darkness true Kong. Shurtong did not even have time to react before the river of stars engulfed her. Boom! Qin Feng's palm landed on Shurtong's shoulder. Shurtong's body was sent flying like a cannonball. With a bang, he crashed into a mountain wall and fell down heavily. Poochie! Shirtong clutched her abdomen and spat out blood. Blood rained down from her mouth. Shirtong stared at the black-robed young man in horror. Qin Feng severely injured her in one move. He is so strong. Yi Qinghua, Long Linger, and the rest looked at each other. Qin Feng's performance was beyond their expectations. Previously, the black-robed lady was ferocious. So many people, including Long Linger, Zhang Xian, Yi Qinghua, and the rest, were defeated by her. But now, Qin Feng made her vomit blood in one move. It was not because the black-robed lady was weak. It was because Qin Feng was too strong. He has become stronger. Zhang Xian was expressionless. He lowered his eyes and deduced in his heart. The strength and speed of this attack have reached a peak. It is more than 10 times stronger than before he entered the Gourd Valley. His true force has a perfect and indestructible aura. This aura has never been seen before. It is really strange. It is even higher quality than the lifeless true force in my body. What kind of true power is this? My lifeless true power is already a high-grade true power. It is flawless and contains many unimaginable uses. But I feel that the true power in his palm is even higher. His true power can easily tear apart my lifeless true power. Zhang Xian remained silent. Two-legged sheep, I admit that you are very strong, but you can't kill me. Wiping the blood from the corner of her mouth, Shirtong's beautiful eyes coldly glanced at the black-robed young man, as though she wanted to remember this young man forever. Yi Qinghua reminded him loudly, "Junior brother Qin Feng, be careful. She can use the shadow to escape." Too late. Shi Guang glared at Yi Qinghua, who was 100 feet away. His body dimmed slightly and turned into a shadow. It seemed that he was about to disappear into the shadows under his feet. "Black-robed brat, you've injured me this time. In the future, I'll definitely make you pay me back 100 times, 1,000 times over. I won't let you go. I'll definitely get my revenge." Sneering coldly in his heart, Shirtong was already thinking of how to torture this black-robed brat the next time he met him. "It's not too late. It's not too late," Qin Feng sneered. Curling his fingers into a claw, Qin Feng moved like the wind and clawed at the void. A river of stars directly broke through the dark energy surrounding Shirtong. There was a soft sound of a puff. In an instant, the dark energy was broken through. The void twisted and a tall black-robed girl with a sneer in her eyes was forcibly pulled out from the shadows. She fell to the ground with a loud bang, feeling a sharp pain in her, but Shirtong looked at her own body in disbelief. She stared at Qin Feng in disbelief and shouted, "How is this possible? How could you break through my shadow transformation? This is impossible." Looking at Shirtong indifferently, Qin Feng sneered coldly. "How is it impossible? Technically speaking, divine powers are just a high-level martial technique. The core of it is the use of one's own true energy. My astral true energy is the most powerful and has the power of the heavenly Tao. Although your dark true energy is strong, in front of my astral true energy, it is like the emperor and his ministers. If the emperor wants you dead, how can the minister resist?" "I don't believe it," Shirtong shouted. She activated her divine powers again. The dark true energy surged and turned into a black mist. She retreated into the black mist. "You won't cry until you see the coffin." A cold light flashed in Qin Feng's eyes. His body flashed, and a silver astral true energy wrapped around his body. He tore through the black mist and charged into it. In the next moment, a silver light flashed, and Qin Feng returned to his original spot. He swung his arm, and with a loud bang, a figure fell to the ground. Shirtong appeared on the ground in a daze. The brim of her hat draped over her shoulders, and her black curly hair hung loosely like clouds, revealing a face that could outshine the moon and put flowers to shame, a face that could cause the downfall of a nation. She raised her head and stared at Qin Feng. "What kind of evil art did you use? How could you break through my divine powers?" His black robe fluttered in the wind. Qin Feng swept his sleeves, and a cold sneer appeared on his handsome face. "What kind of evil art is this? Could it be that you fiend temple people can't even recognize my all-stars college's art of mixed origin stars? Qin Feng glanced at the crowd from the corner of his eyes. With a flick of his finger, a beam of starlight appeared. This beam of starlight was like a river of stars, sweeping across the crowd. Its might was incomparably tyrannical and grand. It really was the astral true energy. Among the crowd, Yi Qinghua, Long Linger, Zhang Xian, and the others cultivated the art of mixed origin stars. Naturally, they could feel it. This astral true energy came from the same source as the astral true energy in their bodies. Come to think of it, the astral true energy is also divided into different grades. Yi Qinghua and the others exchanged looks and understood something. Without a doubt, the astral true energy that Qin Feng comprehended was one of the highest grade astral true energy. The group couldn't hide the shock on their faces. I just don't know what this junior Marshall brother's natal star is. With such a high-grade astral true energy, if he could find a higher-grade natal star, his strength would be unimaginable. Yi Qinghua and the others exchanged looks. Junior brother, how should we deal with this woman? Yi Qinghua's gaze landed on Shi Tong. Her eyes were filled with killing intent. Junior brother Qin Feng, in my opinion, this woman has committed a heinous crime. She should be executed immediately. That's right, this woman killed All Stars College's disciples one after another. She deserves to die 1,000 times over. We should pull out her tendons and skin her alive, then hack her into pieces to appease our junior brother's souls in heaven. Longlinger's eyes flashed with malice. She walked over with a long sword in her hand, her face filled with killing intent. She raised her sword and was about to kill Shi Tong on the spot. A cold sneer flashed in Shi Tong's eyes as he closed his eyes. Hold it! Qin Feng grabbed Longlinger's wrist. Longlinger was enraged, then she sneered. Qin Feng, don't tell me you want to protect the people from the demon temple. As if she thought of something, Longlinger suddenly realized something and shouted. Good, no wonder you killed junior sister Lu Yuhan. It's because junior sister Lu Yuhan exposed your true face. You are indeed colluding with the people from the demon temple. Qin Feng raised his eyebrows, and a nameless anger appeared in his heart. This Longlinger is not done yet. I spared her life last time, and this time she still wants to cause trouble. Qin Feng was about to explode when he suddenly saw Longlinger's gaze land on Xuelian. Qin Feng's heart moved, so she found a backer and thought she could contend against me. Sneering in his heart, Qin Feng's eyes flashed with killing intent. This is the third update. The fourth update will be slightly later, before 8 o'clock. Today is Monday, so I will only make up the 11th update. Chapter 285. This Longlinger was too naive. Did she think that with Xuelian as her backing, she could suppress and punish him? What made Qin Feng unable to bear the killing intent was that Longlinger had completely inverted black and white. Just based on a little guess, she had put a hat on him, colluding with Demon Temple and killing fellow disciples. This was an unpardonable, heinous crime. This was pouring dirty water on Qin Feng's head, making him unable to rise again. Qin Feng's killing intent soared, and a trace of brutality flashed in his eyes. His figure appeared in front of Longlinger like lightning. Longlinger was shocked, but then she sneered. She was already prepared. She had predicted that Qin Feng would make a move. Good. Qin Feng, you are indeed a spy from Demon Temple. A corner dog will jump over the wall. Fellow senior sisters, what are you waiting for? Let's take down this spy together. As she shouted, she flipped her palm and a pitch-black dagger appeared. A black light flowed in the dagger, and the sharp aura seemed to be able to cut the void. In an instant, it pierced towards Qin Feng. When the dagger appeared, Qin Feng's heart jumped. A strong threat came from the dagger, and Qin Feng's skin hurt. What a sinister woman. It was obvious that Longlinger had been scheming against Qin Feng, waiting for the day when the dagger would be revealed. Unfortunately, the weapon is not bad, but the strength is too weak. The gap cannot be closed. Qin Feng's figure flashed like a ghost. In the next moment, Qin Feng's figure appeared behind Long Linger. Long Linger's eyes revealed a trace of fear. Qin Feng's tyrannical strength was far beyond her imagination. With such speed, she could not even react. Qin Feng's eyes were cold, and his killing, intense sword. Star True Power shot out from his palm, and in an instant, the Star True Power tore apart the dark blue True Power around Long Linger's body and exploded in front of Long Linger's frightened expression. Bang! A loud sound echoed. Long Linger lowered her head with difficulty. Her beautiful face was deathly pale, and there was a huge bloody hole in her lower abdomen. With just one strike, all the flesh and blood in her chest and abdomen had evaporated. She was dead meat. Long Linger raised her head and glanced at the motionless crowd with some difficulty. Although Yi Qinghua, Jiang Binger, and Wang Yu couldn't bear it, they didn't say anything in the end. Zhang Xian was cold and expressionless. She looked at Snow Lotus, who was not far away. From the beginning until now, Shuel Yin's eyes were cold, as if Long Linger was a stranger. Why? Long Linger muttered. She originally thought that everyone would respond to her call, but she never expected that not a single person would respond. Looking indifferently at Long Linger, a trace of disdain flashed across Shuel Yin's eyes. It was a fact that she had a good relationship with Long Linger, but it didn't mean that she, Shuel Yin, would pay for Long Linger's ambitions and die with her. Junior apprentice Sister Long, don't blame me. Of all the people you could have provoked, you had to provoke Qin Feng. Qin Feng is a vicious and decisive person who seeks revenge for the smallest grievance. He's not like those virtuous gentlemen who you can restrain with benevolence and righteousness. He's unscrupulous and clearly distinguishes between good and evil. Scheming against him is simply courting death. Thinking to herself, Shuel Yin tilted her head. The most important point was that Shuel Yin didn't think that she could defeat Qin Feng right now. Long Linger seemed to understand the fear in Shuel Yin's eyes. Realization dawned on her, and she smiled bitterly. I can't accept this. I can't accept this. A trace of regret flashed across Long Linger's eyes. Perhaps she should have endured for a while longer. At that time, the outcome might not have been like this. However, she was even more unwilling. She was the princess of Baiming, an elite of All Stars College, and a famous beauty of All Stars College. She had countless suitors, but she was going to die here at such a young age. Long Linger suddenly let out an unwilling and bitter laugh. She stared fixedly at Qin Feng. The next moment, her body fell to the ground with a thud. She was dead. Shirtong witnessed this scene with her own eyes. Her gaze fell on Qin Feng, and a trace of fear appeared in her eyes. It was one thing for this fellow to be strong, but he had no inhibitions. A virtuous gentleman with tyrannical strength wasn't scary, because virtuous gentlemen were limited by countless rules and regulations. There were countless ways to use or kill them. What was scary was those who had no inhibitions. They had no weaknesses and were not restrained at all. Junior brother Qin Feng, how do you plan to deal with this woman? After some hesitation, Yi Qinghua looked at Qin Feng. Qin Feng glanced at Yi Qinghua. From the expressions of Yi Qinghua, Jiang Binger, and the others, Qin Feng saw an invisible crack. On the spot, Qin Feng's gaze took in the thoughts of the girls. His eyes flickered. He originally wanted to clarify, but Qin Feng held back. Forget it. Anyway, I'm not on the same path as them. These people can think whatever they like. As long as they don't go against me, it's fine. But if they do, don't blame me for being ruthless. Qin Feng's gaze fell on Shirtong. His eyes flickered as he spoke. This girl is an elite of the Demon Temple's dark heavenly lion race. She has comprehended the rare darkness true force. Her strength is not bad, and her looks are exceptional. I plan to capture this girl and send her to the auction house in the future. I will definitely be able to obtain a considerable amount of revenge. What? He wants to sell me as a female slave? A trace of fear flashed in Shirtong's eyes. Once she was sent to the slave auction house, she would be unable to beg for death. Just like how the Demon Temple treated the human race, The experts of the Demon Temple captured by All-Stars College would not have a good ending. Most of them would be killed on the spot. A small portion of them would be captured and sent to the auction house to be sold as slaves due to their value. A high-quality female slave of the savage tribe would fetch a sky-high price in the auction house. Shurtong's figure, appearance, and talent were the best of the best among the female slaves of the savage tribe. Such a female slave was extremely sought after. At the side, Yi Qinghua, Jiang Binger, and Wang Yu's expressions changed when they heard this. Being sold as a female slave was much crueler than being killed directly. Looking at Qin Feng, the three girls involuntarily took a few steps back. This Azure Dragon Chief's methods were truly ruthless. It was crueler than they had imagined. Shuoyan looked at Qin Feng with disdain. Scum, want to enslave me? Dream on. Even if I die, I will not become the slave of a two-legged sheep like you. Shurtong's eyes revealed a trace of despair for the first time. Her eyes flashed with a trace of determination. Qin Feng's eyes were fixed on Shurtong. His eyes were sharp and his hands were nimble. He slapped out with a strand of star true power in his palm, instantly dispersing the darkness true power on Shurtong's body. He then sealed all of Shurtong's true power. That's too much. She was so scared that she almost committed suicide. Qin Feng's eyes revealed a trace of a cunning smile. How could Qin Feng bear to sell such a talented female slave? This was the maid that he had reserved for that little girl, Red Lotus. In the future, she might even be his concubine. Qin Feng was just about to teach Shurtong a lesson when he suddenly raised his head. Outside the gourd valley, dozens of tyrannical auras shot over like shooting stars from half a mile away. In less than 10 breaths, a golden light appeared at the entrance of the gourd valley. An earth-shattering aura swept over from afar. From afar, a golden-haired valiant young man appeared in front of everyone's eyes. Everyone's expression changed. This person's aura was so strong that it was terrifying. Under this aura, everyone felt as if they were carrying a mountain. A dense pressure of death appeared in their hearts. This is the 4th update. There's still the 5th. I'm working overtime today to catch up on the 11th update. Chapter 286. Big Brother Shur. Shurtong's beautiful eyes widened and blurred. She was pleasantly surprised to see the golden-haired handsome man descending like a god. Shur Wushuang followed the voice and saw the black-robed girl on the ground. She was stunned and frowned. Tonger, why are you here? At this moment, dozens of streaks of light appeared one after another behind Shur Wushuang, like shooting stars. Everyone from All-Stars College was shocked when they saw the experts from the Sky Lion tribe appearing one after another. With a flash of white light, a beautiful silver-haired girl with a pure and holy aura appeared beside Shur Wushuang. Second sister? Shur Han looked at Shurtong, who was lying on the ground at Qin Feng's feet, in astonishment. Shurtong's eyes flashed with shame and anger. She kept a cold face and shut her mouth. She would never show her weak side in front of Shur Han. Shur Wushuang's gaze shifted and landed on Qin Feng, who seemed to be the leader of the group, as he shouted coldly. Let her go. I'll leave your corpses intact and give you a quick death. Shur Han's eyes flashed with sweetness. She stared coldly at Qin Feng with a hint of complacency in her eyes. Qin Feng narrowed his eyes and was infuriated when he saw Shurtong and the golden-haired man's expressions. What a bedwarmer girl. You haven't even married into the Qin clan, but you're already flirting with men outside. You're not behaving like a wife. Qin Feng thought that Shurtong still needed to be taught a lesson. At least before he handed her over to Hong Lian, he had to teach her well. He could not let Shurtong have other thoughts about this golden-haired handsome man. Junior Qin Feng, what should we do now? Yi Qinghua gripped the sword in her hand and looked nervous. There were so many experts from the Sky Lion tribe. This was simply a calamity that would wipe them out. In particular, the aura of the blonde handsome man in the lead made her feel as if there was no hope at all. Qin Feng, we have to be careful this time. The man in the lead is a warrior in the Black Realm, the 3rd secret realm of Meridian's condensation. He has condensed at least 4 or 5 spiritual meridians, and he has a trace of royal blood. He is very powerful. You have to be careful. Shulian's expression was unprecedentedly serious, as if she was facing a great enemy. Qin Feng nodded. He sent a telepathic message. Don't worry, I'll deal with that man later. You guys think of a way to deal with the rest. If a fight breaks out, think of a way to protect yourselves first. I'll come back to support you guys after I've killed that Heavenly Lion Imperial family expert. All right, leave that silver-haired light Heavenly Lion King to me. Shuo Yin nodded silently. Among the experts of the Heavenly Lion clan, other than the golden-haired handsome man, the remaining expert was undoubtedly the woman from the bright Heavenly Lion clan. Qin Feng glanced at Shuo Yin and nodded to himself. After secretly instructing her, Qin Feng glanced at the black-robed girl, whose beautiful eyes sparkled with a trace of sweetness. He could not help but feel angry. Qin Feng rolled his eyes, and a sinister smile appeared in his eyes. With a pull of an invisible force from his hand, Shi Tong's body was lifted up by an invisible force. Qin Feng's 5 fingers pinched Shi Tong's beautiful and fair neck. If you want me to let you go, I can do that, but you have to let us go. Qin Feng squeezed hard. Shi Tong felt as if she was going to suffocate, and her beautiful face could not help but blush. Shi Tong glared at Qin Feng with hatred. She almost wanted to bite off a piece of this man's flesh. Shi Wushuang's face darkened. Impossible. The Heavenly Lion Imperial family will never be threatened by anyone. Today, all of you will die. The silver-haired girl's expression changed slightly. Qin Feng glanced at Shi Tong, and a trace of sadness flashed across Shi Tong's face. A sinister smile flashed in Qin Feng's eyes. He pulled the black-robed girl over with a cold smile on his face. Don't you care about her at all? She seems to be deeply in love with you. Could it be that you're willing to let such a beautiful woman die here? Qin Feng reached out a hand and rubbed the soft and smooth skin on the girl's face. Her eyes were filled with hatred as she stared at Qin Feng furiously. Don't you find such a beautiful woman attractive at all? After Qin Feng finished speaking, he glanced at the expressionless black-robed girl from the corner of his eyes. Although Shi Tong was trying her best to maintain a cold demeanor, Qin Feng noticed that the girl's ears moved slightly. Clearly, she still cared about this answer. Shi Wushuang remained silent for a moment. After a while, he lifted his head and a trace of coldness flashed across his eyes. The dignity of the Heavenly Lion Imperial family cannot be challenged. You cunning 2-legged sheep, you better give up. Regardless of whether she is dead or alive, you will have to pay the price. With a trace of worry on her face, Shi Han wanted to say something, but was stopped by Shi Wushuang. Sister Han, you don't have to say anything. The dignity of the Heavenly Lion Imperial family is more important than anything. Qin Feng's face was filled with regret. He glanced at Shi Tong, who was clenching her teeth. Her eyes were cold and devoid of any warmth. Qin Feng smiled faintly. What a pity. If there was a woman who treated me like this, I would never give up on her so easily. What dignity! What glory! They are all bullsh*t. How can such illusory things compare to the life of the woman I love? Qin Feng sighed. With every word he said, Shi Tong's expression turned colder. In the end, there was a trace of blood at the corner of Shi Tong's mouth. Critical hit. The young lady's heart was shattered. What a delightful sight. Despite the regret on his face, Qin Feng was overjoyed. Shi Tong's eyes were cold. There was no will to live in her beautiful eyes. Just kill me. The dignity of the Heavenly Lion Imperial family cannot be blasphemed. Upon hearing this, Qin Feng threw Shi Tong to the ground. Qin Feng lifted his head and lifted his chin slightly. Qin Feng sneered. What do you mean by the dignity of the Heavenly Lion Imperial family cannot be blasphemed? Bullsh*t. Dignity is earned with strength and not by sacrificing a woman's life. Qin Feng took a look at Shi Tong. He squatted down and lifted Shi Tong's delicate chin. He looked straight into the eyes of the beauty. It was as though he could pierce through the heart of the beauty. He smiled coldly. Just you watch. I will let you know what true dignity is and what true glory is. Qin Feng pointed at Shi Wushuang and sneered. As for him, The dignity that he obtained by sacrificing her life is worthless in front of me. It's nothing but bullsh asterisk T. Qin Feng grabbed the young lady's chin and moved his face closer. Tong's beautiful face revealed a trace of panic. She wanted to dodge, but for some reason, she was a little flustered when she saw the gaze of this black-robed young man. Qin Feng grabbed the young lady's chin forcefully. Qin Feng said, "So, rather than loving him, why don't you love me and fall in love with someone else immediately? If you have any misgivings, I will beat him into a dead dog later. Then we could be lovey-dovey." Looking at the unusually domineering Qin Feng, the young ladies were stunned for some reason. For the first time, the young ladies felt that this black-robed young man might not be as vicious and heartless as they thought. Compared to the golden-haired young man who was shouting slogans and maintaining his dignity, Qin Feng was undoubtedly more manly at this moment. As for the golden-haired young man who wanted to sacrifice a woman to fulfill the dignity of the heavenly line imperial family, he was despicable, although Qin Feng looked like a scoundrel as well. Sensing the strange gazes around him, especially those of the female experts of the Qi clan, Shi Wushuang's face turned green. His chest rose and fell rapidly, as though his lungs were about to explode. A moment later, he let out a furious roar. "Kill him! Kill him!" Shi Wushuang took the lead. He turned into a streak of golden light and charged toward Qin Feng. At this moment, Shi Wushuang wanted nothing more than to tear this detestable black-robed young man into pieces. This is the 5th watch to make up for the 11th watch. Tomorrow, it will be at least the 5th update. The first update will be slightly later, around 10 a.m. Chapter 287. Bang! 2 rainbows, one black and one gold, crashed into each other in midair. 2 invisible true forces collided with each other, creating an earth-shattering sound. Rumble. 2 silhouettes shot hundreds of zhang away, piercing through the sky. With a bang, a silver light landed on the ground. Qin Feng's feet shook and a hole of a few inches appeared. His whole body was wrapped in a silver light. Qin Feng clenched his 5 fingers tightly. His muscles and bones emitted a whimpering sound due to friction. One of Qin Feng's hands behind his back was trembling. He clenched his fists so hard that his veins were exposed. What a strong body. It's not inferior to my 8-baron immortal mysterious skill. The heavenly lion royal family is indeed difficult to deal with. Qin Feng's eyes revealed a trace of seriousness as he thought to himself. This was the strongest opponent he had ever faced. Bang! Shi Wushuang's figure retreated explosively. He slid 100 feet on the ground before he finally stopped. A layer of invisible golden light flowed on his body. He felt a slight pain in his hand. A drop of blood flowed down his skin and dripped to the ground. His face revealed a trace of astonishment. Then his eyes flashed with killing intent. Shi Wushuang raised his head and stared at Qin Feng. His heart was cold. What a strong power. He can compete with me in the Black Realm with pure true force. With such talent and strength, he must not be allowed to live. If this person were to grow up smoothly, he would be a great threat to the Demon Temple. Kill! Qin Feng and Shi Wushuang looked at each other and saw the murderous intent in each other's eyes. Qin Feng's body flashed, like a silver lightning breaking through the air. Some of the martial arts of the Meridian's realm in his previous life were at his fingertips. With a palm strike, the Silver Star True Force twisted and turned into a Milky Way thunderbolt. Shi Wushuang's eyes were gloomy and cold. The golden yellow, true energy around him exploded forth. His golden yellow true energy was extremely sharp, bringing with it a trace of vast and boundless primordial qi. When his fist landed on Qin Feng's palm, an unstoppable force exploded forth, actually able to clash head-on with Qin Feng's heavenly Tao art astral energy. The power of an emperor. This is the power of the demon god's bloodline. Qin Feng knew that this was the work of the demon god's divine power. Punch to punch. Bang! Both of them were extremely fast, like 2 madly fighting tornadoes. Shi Wushuang was extremely fast. His fist technique was majestic and overbearing. Every claw and punch carried a vast majesty, as if an emperor had descended. It gave Qin Feng a great deal of pressure. Qin Feng's style was a bit strange. Sometimes it was like a gale, sometimes it was like a tidal wave, sometimes it was like thunder and lightning, and in the end, it transformed into the ancient stars. Between his punches and kicks, they were direct and simple, fast, accurate, and ruthless, and possessed vast strength like the boundless starry sky, indifferent and lofty. With a flick of his fingers, he combined strength and gentleness. Many divine abilities gradually appeared and blended into his moves, increasing his power. Roar! A huge spiritual snake that was dozens of feet long shot out from Qin Feng's palm technique. This was a divine ability after the completion of the spiritual snake demon fist technique. Qin Feng called it the spiritual snake divine ability. Lion Emperor Earth Splitting Claw. It was also a martial art. Shi Wushuang's claw was domineering and majestic. A huge golden claw instantly destroyed the huge spiritual snake. Extreme Emperor Realm. Shi Wushuang's eyes flashed with cold lightning. His silhouette was like a bolt of golden lightning, instantly appearing 10 steps away from Qin Feng. A terrifying aura that could blot out the sun was attracted over. His entire person seemed to have transformed into a supreme heavenly lion. As he blasted out with his claw, Qin Feng's skin emitted flapping sounds, as though it was about to explode. Black tortoise sea suppressing fist. Qin Feng's eyes turned cold. His body did not move. He took a deep breath, and a silver light rippled around his body. Deshang's black tortoise sea suppressing fist combined with the star true power turned into a huge silver-black tortoise. Pung pung. The ferocious golden fist landed on the tortoise's body and exploded into an intense collision. Rumble, rumble, rumble. Qin Feng's feet flew up, and the ground caved in by 3 feet. What a strong defense. My gold true power contains a trace of the ancient emperor's aura. Its quality is far better than normal true power. Coupled with the power of my royal family's extreme emperor world-shaking fist, it still can't break his defense. Shi Wushuang's eyes flashed with anger. Extreme Emperor Second Style, Leaderless Dragons. An incomparably ferocious yang energy appeared. Shi Wushuang's figure was like a bolt of lightning as he leaped into the air and blasted out a palm strike. Rumble. Boundless golden light surged as the extremely violent energy seemed to want to pierce through the void and smash Qin Feng into pieces. What a terrifying palm technique. On the side, the experts from both sides who were fighting stopped and fled. The power of this palm was too strong. Many heavenly lion race experts turned around and looked at Shi Wushuang, who was like a god in the sky. This was the heavenly lion royal family's unique fist technique, Extreme Emperor World Shaking Fist. Only those who had truly awakened the heavenly lion royal family's bloodline were qualified to cultivate it. This was the unique ability passed down by the heavenly lion demon god. It was mighty and powerful. It was the heavenly lion demon god's supreme technique. It was rumored that when the heavenly lion demon god used the extreme emperor world shaking fist, it had melted the eternal Black Sea. Qin Feng felt a great sense of danger. Shi Wushuang had mastered an earth-level martial way super technique. When he punched out, the power of his fist technique was increasing. It was absorbing the yang energy of heaven and earth. It was even constantly refining the grand sun primordial fire in heaven and earth. It was as if it was going to melt the sky. This was much more terrifying than Lu Chunyang's grand sun primordial fire super technique. Black tortoise yin yang wei, black tortoise spirit snake combined into one yin yang divine diagram. With a furious shout, Qin Feng generated 2 boundless mental states of hardness and gentleness in his mind. From the star essence diagram, a starry river spurted out from the 8,000 pores on his body, forming a huge silver-white snake. This was the spirit snake super technique. In the next moment, there was a deep roar, and a giant tortoise appeared behind Qin Feng. The two flew above his head, and yin and yang connected like a yin-yang Tai Chi fish. Under the guidance of Qin Feng's fist technique, yin and yang gradually transformed and formed a silver Dao diagram in front of Qin Feng. A supreme concept of the transformation of yin and yang and the rotation of Tai Chi appeared in the void. It was as if the void had been transformed into pure yin and yang Qi. Rumble. There was an earth-shattering sound. The thick golden yang energy bombarded the yin-yang divine diagram and caused an earth-shattering explosion. The huge aftershock spread to the surroundings. There was a loud bang. Wang Yuer, who was fighting with a heavenly lion race expert hundreds of feet away, was instantly blasted into a cloud of blood mist by this force. The heavenly lion race expert was also crushed without any resistance. There was a loud bang, and pieces of blood flew everywhere. However, what made everyone feel incredulous was that although the yin-yang divine diagram was small, it had the rotation of yin and yang and actually blocked this punch. The extreme yang energy was transformed by the yin-yang divine diagram. Yin and yang became one, and the heavenly way was unpredictable. It was withstood and finally melted into a yin and yang colored sunball. This sunball was like a small sun, and it contained a chilling power. It was as if it would explode in the void at any time. Qin Feng's eyes lit up. His 5 fingers curled slightly as he grabbed hold of the miniature sun. An indescribable surge of extreme yang energy was transmitted from his palm. Although this surge of energy was strong, it was unable to do anything to Qin Feng's astral true energy. The star true power of the heavenly way technique easily crushed this energy, absorbed it, and transformed it into star true power. Qin Feng looked around, and his gaze landed on the place where dozens of heavenly lion race experts were gathered. Not good. The heavenly lion race experts' faces changed. They were about to scatter and escape. However, it was too late. Qin Feng tossed his hand, and like a stream of light, the ball of Grand Sun primordial fire in his hand landed among the heavenly lion race experts. Rumble. There was an earth-shattering explosion. A huge pit that was hundreds of feet wide appeared on the spot. The surrounding body parts were scattered all over the ground. The blood mist evaporated. Under Shi Wushuang's furious gaze, more than 30 of the 40 to 50 heavenly lion race experts were killed by the explosion. As for the other 20 experts, other than those who were far away, 7 to 8 of them had broken limbs. The second update is at 2 in the afternoon. The third and fourth updates are in the afternoon. The fifth update is in the evening. The 12th update is made up today. Chapter 288. 45 young talents from the heavenly lion race were killed by Qin Feng's blazing sun thunder. Yi Qinghua, Jiang Binger, and the rest felt a chill in their hearts. The aftermath of the battle between the two was already so powerful. It could be seen how powerful the two of them were. If they were to face them head-on, they would be easily killed in one move. Shuelian forced Shirhan back with a single blow. She turned into an ice river and landed beside Yi Qinghua and the rest. At this moment, a sword light flew over from afar. Let's leave this place. If we continue to stay here, we will be implicated. The fate of those from the heavenly lion race is our example. Zhang Xian's voice was cold. His body turned into a sword light and retreated a few hundred feet. Shuelian nodded and retreated quickly. Yi Qinghua and Jiang Binger looked at each other and saw the fear on each other's face. The two of them retreated one after another. Qin Feng glanced at his master, who was retreating. His eyes revealed a trace of indifference. This was a wise choice. Not far away, Shi Wushuang's eyes were filled with rage as he looked at the mutilated corpses of the heavenly lion tribe experts. A wave of resentment and murderous intent pierced through the sky. He looked coldly at Qin Feng and roared, "You deserve to die 10,000 times. Ultimate Emperor shakes the world. Heavenly lion swallows the sun." A golden light burst apart, and the void seemed to be torn apart. In the next moment, Shi Wuxuang appeared a few dozen feet away from Qin Feng. He punched out, and a golden light appeared. A wild and primitive roar could be heard. The golden light turned into a huge and sturdy three-eyed golden lion and swallowed Qin Feng. This was the third move of the ultimate emperor shakes the world. There was once an elder from the heavenly lion imperial race who used this ability to swallow tens of thousands of beasts. Want to swallow me? Fine, I'll let you swallow me. Qin Feng sneered. He condensed his star, true force, and turned it into a stream of light that drilled into the golden heavenly lion's mouth. How dare you enter my golden heavenly lion's stomach alone? You're dead meat. Even if a peak Tier 2 quasi-beast king were to enter my golden heavenly lion's stomach, it would be burned to death by the sun true fire. Shi Wuxuang was overjoyed and laughed heartily. Shi Wuxuang's golden true power boiled once again and poured into the golden heavenly lion's body. The golden heavenly lion immediately swelled up like a small mountain that had come alive with a soul. This golden heavenly lion let out a roar toward the sky. A few hundred feet away, the surrounding temperature dropped significantly. Boundless sunlight gathered within the golden heavenly lion's body. It was as though a golden divine lion had walked out from the sun. In the distance, Shuilian shook her head in horror as she watched this scene. This time, Qin Feng was a little careless. He actually walked right into the golden heavenly lion's body. This golden heavenly lion is made up of pure sun primordial fire. There is also the golden divine fire with a higher temperature inside. This kind of golden divine fire can even destroy some high-level spiritual swords. What does the golden divine fire count for? In front of my heavenly law true power, it's nothing. Inside the golden heavenly lion's body, Qin Feng stood in the middle of the sun true fire. He was dressed in a black robe and had a layer of silver light around him. It was like a black hole that was rapidly absorbing the sun true fire in the golden heavenly lion's body. The profoundness of true power of the heavenly Tao realm is not something that anyone can imagine. What is this true fire of the sun? In front of my heavenly Tao realm star true power, it is like a clay chicken or pottery dog. Not only is this true fire of the sun unable to pose a threat to me, it is also a great tonic. As he muttered to himself, Qin Feng's face was filled with a cold smile. Glancing at the surrounding golden flames, he let out a furious roar. The 48,000 pores on his body opened up and began to absorb, turning into a dark black hole in the North Sea. The boundless essence, sun flame, gushed towards his body. Qin Feng circulated the second level of the art of primeval stars. The star true power in his body surged in from all directions. It was like a millstone that violently crushed the sun true fire, returning the sun true fire to its origin, transforming it into pure origin force. Under the guidance of Qin Feng's mental power, it formed a starlight spiritual vein in his body that was emitting a silver-white spiritual light. The second realm of martial arts, the meridian's condensing realm, was to condense spiritual veins in the body. The more spiritual veins condensed in the body, the stronger one's strength. Generally speaking, the stronger a martial artist's foundation in the martial arts realm, the more spiritual veins each secret realm could withstand. Every major force had their own unique meridians condensing secret technique. The second level of the All-Stars College's Art of Primeval Stars had several top-notch meridians condensing secret techniques. Furthermore, it was to condense the extremely unique starlight spiritual vein. Qin Feng remembered that there were several top-level meridians condensing secret techniques. Among them, there was the Crimson Dragon condensing secret technique, the 4 Extreme Meridians condensing secret technique, the 6 Path Meridians condensing secret technique, and the Primal 5 Elements condensing secret technique. The secret technique that Qin Feng chose for himself was the Primal 5 Elements condensing secret technique, condensing the meridians with the Starlight 5 directions and condensing the 5 Elements galaxy secret realm. Among the 5 directions' 5 elements, the first secret realm was the Crimson Flame's secret realm. It condensed the fire attribute starlight spiritual vein. Qin Feng was about to start condensing the meridians condensing secret technique. The primal 5 elements condensing secret technique flashed across his mind. Countless intense sun true fire was forcefully absorbed into his body and was crushed by the star true power. Strictly speaking, the sun true fire was also a kind of star force. It was the star force produced by the most yang star. Qin Feng's eyes flashed with traces of blazing brilliance. He sat cross-legged inside the golden heavenly lion's body. Countless ferocious sun true fire around him wanted to refine him. His 10 fingers weaved a series of hand seals at lightning speed. Streams of star power swirled around his palms, condensing into one after another strange and ancient spell symbol after another. These runes flew around in his palms. Strands of crushed sun true fire were drawn out from Qin Feng's body. Although the sun true fire that was completely crushed by the star true power had lost the brutal nature of the sun true fire, it was still the pure yang true fire. It was the true, pure yang true power. Under the guidance of some ancient runes, the pure yang true power light pillar condensed into the starlight spiritual vein in his body. This silver-white starlight spiritual vein was contaminated by the pure yang true power. After dozens of breaths, it actually turned scarlet red. On one of Qin Feng's arms, some scarlet red light spots lit up. These light spots were distributed all over Qin Feng's left arm. They covered the entire arm and extended to his heart. At this moment, a secret realm in his heart suddenly opened up. This was the extreme human secret realm. The scarlet red light spots on Qin Feng's arm suddenly connected together. A formless scarlet red light ray passed through. Faintly, it looked like a scarlet snake soaring into the sky. This was the spiritual vein. The first spiritual vein that Qin Feng condensed in the extreme human secret realm. Qin Feng called it the pure yang spiritual vein. This was because this spiritual vein was condensed from pure yang true power. Rumble. Following the successful condensation of this spiritual vein, the spiritual vein suddenly turned into a scarlet dragon and flew out of Qin Feng's body. Under Qin Feng's control, this scarlet dragon grew with the wind. The sun true fire in the golden heavenly lion's body became this pure yang scarlet dragon's paradise. In just 4 to 5 breaths, the golden heavenly lion was completely devoured by this pure yang scarlet dragon. Roar! With a loud roar, Shi Wushuang, who was controlling the golden heavenly lion with a sneer on his face, widened his eyes. His face turned pale. A huge scarlet dragon that was several feet long rushed out from the golden heavenly lion's body and suddenly opened its mouth to swallow him. I was late by an hour due to some matters. This is the second update. There are still 3 more updates. Chapter 289. The golden heavenly lion was destroyed, and Shi Wushuang spat out a mouthful of blood. His mind was shaken violently. With a bang, he retreated continuously. Roar! Right at this moment, a terrifying dragon's roar reverberated through the air. A red dragon, baring its fangs and brandishing its claws, rushed out from the place where the golden heavenly lion was destroyed. An earth-shattering power gathered. Shi Wushuang felt a chill in his heart, as if he was going to be turned into ashes by the red dragon's attack. Determination flashed in his eyes. Shi Wushuang clenched his teeth and used a secret technique to squeeze out his blood essence. It turned into the last bit of golden true power and rushed into his eyes. Taboo eye opened for me. He wanted to open the eye by force. Shi Wushuang's eyes revealed a trace of anger. Although the blood of the sovereign had awakened, it had not merged with him. Every time he used the taboo eye, there was a price to pay. Every time he used the taboo eye, the blood of the sovereign would burn a little. In other words, the blood of the sovereign would become thinner. If the blood of the sovereign was exhausted, he would completely lose his identity as a member of the sovereign. The price was unimaginable. Within a month, he had already opened the taboo 3 times. 1/10 of the sovereign's blood had been burned. However, the more it was so, the angrier Shi Wushuang was. Shi Wushuang's body was surrounded by a terrifying aura. When the third eye opened, an abnormal phenomenon began to appear. Sand and stones flew, and a doomsday scene appeared. Countless gourd vines in the gourd valley withered and turned into ashes. In the void, a formless ripple began to fluctuate. In the distance, Shuai Yin, Yi Qinghua, and the others had already retreated another 100 feet when Shi Wushuang was about to open the third eye. A terrifying aura of death filled their hearts. It was unstoppable. It's the third eye of the sky lion royal family. Let's retreat. We can't stop it. When a few of them turned around, the surprised Qin Feng did not seem to notice anything. Oh no, Senior Qin Feng doesn't seem to know the origin of that eye. Jiang Binger's beautiful eyes revealed a trace of anxiety. Yi Qinghua shook her head. It's too late. He can't dodge it. Shuai Yin's face flashed a complicated look. There's no other way. The third eye of the sky lion imperial family has already opened. He's dead for sure. On the ground, Shi Tong had a complicated look in her eyes. She didn't know why, but even though Qin Feng was about to die, she didn't feel any joy at all. On the other side, the remaining experts from the Sky Lion King tribe glared at the black-robed young man with hatred. Seeing that Shi Wushuang had opened her third eye, the experts from the Sky Lion King tribe relaxed. It's over. That two-legged human is dead for sure. That's right. The third eye of our Imperial Sky Lion tribe is the legendary Taboo Eye. That taboo force can even injure an expert one realm higher than us. That's right. When young Master had just broken through to the Meridian's condensation realm, he had relied on this third eye to kill a rank 3 ancient beast. That was a rank 3 ancient beast that was comparable to a sea reincarnation realm cultivator. Shirhan's beautiful eyes watched this scene indifferently. The corners of her mouth curled up slightly, and a trace of radiance appeared on her holy and flawless face. Just as Shi Wushuang was about to open her third eye, Qin Feng felt a huge threat. His heart instinctively started to beat violently. Warning signs. The three-eyed lion's third eye. Qin Feng's expression changed slightly. The three-eyed golden lion was an immemorial true spirit. Moreover, it was one of the strongest immemorial true spirits, especially the three-eyed golden lion's third eye. That was a taboo. Even a demon god wouldn't be able to withstand such power. I definitely can't take it head-on. Qin Feng's eyes turned serious. With a thought, the crimson dragon rushed into his body. Qin Feng turned around and was about to dodge when an invisible light appeared in the depths of his soul. For the first time, a grayish book began to move. This was the Book of Universe. Back then, it was rumored to be the divine artifact of the space-time god that swept Qin Feng's soul into the space-time turbulence. However, ever since Qin Feng was reborn, the Book of Universe had stayed in the depths of Qin Feng's soul. No matter what, it couldn't be moved. This time, there was actually a change. This Book of Universe actually revealed a hint of hunger and thirst. Qin Feng had the same feeling and suddenly felt very hungry. Then, something happened that made everyone's jaws drop. Shi Wushuang's vertical eye opened as a beam of boundless golden energy erupted. The space 3 feet around him shattered inch by inch. However, when it arrived in front of Qin Feng opened his mouth and actually swallowed the golden light that erupted from Shi Wushuang's third eye in a single gulp. That's right, he swallowed it. Everyone looked at this scene in disbelief, and their jaws dropped to the ground. Qin Feng was expressionless, but he was shocked. In fact, rather than saying that he swallowed the golden light, it was better to say that the Book of Universe swallowed the golden light. The Book of Universe was a part of the space-time God's divine artifact, the space-time dual-phase scripture. It was rumored that the Book of Universe represented space, while the Book of Universe represented time. The combination of the Book of Universe and Book of Universe represented space-time. As long as one comprehended space-time power, they could inherit the mantle of the space-time god and become the new space-time god. However, space-time power was the most profound and unfathomable. It was abnormally difficult to comprehend. The reason why the three-eyed golden lion could rank near the top among the primordial true spirits was that its third eye contained a trace of space-time power. Just now, Qin Feng discovered that the trace of space-time power that erupted from Shi Wushuang's third was completely absorbed by the Book of Universe. Shi Wushuang's face was somewhat pale, and his eyes were filled with a sense of absent-mindedness. Good chance. Qin Feng saw an opportunity. Taking advantage of Shi Wushuang's distraction, Qin Feng's figure flashed and appeared in front of Shi Wushuang the next moment, like an arrow leaving the bow. Extremely violent star, true force, adhered to his leg, and he kicked Shi Wushuang's body. Bang! A mouthful of blood spurted out. Shi Wushuang's body seemed to have been hit by a cannonball, and his body was thrown high into the sky. Good. The next blow will take your life. A trace of malevolence flashed in his eyes. Qin Feng stomped his foot, and with a loud bang, a huge hole appeared on the ground. Borrowing this force, Qin Feng flew straight up into the sky and followed Shi Wushuang's figure like a shadow. Looking at the almost completely unconscious Shi Wushuang in front of him, Qin Feng's blazing pure yang meridians condensed in his hand. If this blow landed, Shi Wushuang would be completely turned into ashes. In the next moment, something strange happened. Shi Wushuang suddenly disappeared. She disappeared without a trace. At this moment, in the clouds thousands of meters high in the sky, a group of magnates from All Stars College looked unkindly at a majestic middle-aged man in the distance. This middle-aged man looked to be in his 30s. His face was full of iron beard, and his body had a domineering aura. At this moment, the unconscious Shi Wushuang suddenly appeared in his arms. Lion Emperor, you secretly saved your elite. I'm afraid this is against our agreement, right? Third update. Fourth update. Fifth update. Chapter 290. Disappeared. Qin Feng's silhouette silently descended. Qin Feng narrowed his eyes as he speculated in his heart. It seems like the Almighty from the Demon Temple has made a move. I just don't know why he didn't make a move on me. Could it be that there is something that they are afraid of that prevented them from making a move on me? Qin Feng guessed that the experts from the All Stars College might have arrived as well. The two of them had formed a stalemate. It seems like they are waiting for us to decide who will live and who will die. In just an instant, countless thoughts flashed through Qin Feng's mind as he guessed the sequence of events. Rumble. Qin Feng landed on the ground like a cannonball. The ground beneath his feet cracked. With his feet as the center, spiderweb-like cracks appeared. Qin Feng lifted his right hand and looked around with his deep and gloomy eyes. In the next moment, his gaze landed on the silver-haired young lady among the experts from the Sky Lion Royal Tribe. Qin Feng thought to himself, this woman seems to be the elder sister of my Tong Fong lass. I was about to capture them together. There should be 2 Tong Fong lasses. The sisters are not bad. It seems like Big Brother Wushuang is an almighty for my tribe. He has left. Seeing Shi Wushuang disappear into thin air with her own eyes, Shi Han's beautiful eyes revealed a trace of joy. But when Qin Feng's gaze looked over, Shi Han's heart skipped a beat. She had a feeling that Qin Feng's gaze was as if he wanted to skin her alive. Shi Han's pretty face turned pale as a tinge of fear flashed through her heart. Not good. The human has his eyes on me. I can't stay here for long. I am definitely not a match for that human expert. Under Qin Feng's astonished gaze, Shi Han's pretty face suddenly turned pale. The aura on her body suddenly surged. In the next moment, she turned into a white light and disappeared. Her speed was as fast as a shooting star, and she disappeared in the blink of an eye. Qin Feng didn't notice and actually let Shi Han escape. Qin Feng didn't expect Shi Han to be so decisive. In order to escape, she didn't hesitate to use a secret technique that consumed her blood essence. The corners of Qin Feng's eyes twitched as he felt great regret. What a pity, what a pity. Qin Feng's gaze landed on the remaining experts of the Sky Lion King tribe who were in a panic. When the experts saw the terrifying gaze directed at them, their faces turned pale and they groaned inwardly. A few of them tried to slip away, but Shulian, Zhang Xian, and the others suddenly surrounded them. Beat up a drowning dog. Not long after, screams could be heard. Some experts from the Sky Lion King race were killed by them. Qin Feng walked up to Shirtong. Shirtong's expression was neither sad nor happy, her beautiful face devoid of any emotions. Qin Feng pulled Shirtong up and wrapped his arm around Shirtong's waist. Qin Feng's eyebrows twitched as he suddenly realized that he was a head shorter than Shirtong. F***CK. You still have to raise your head. The corner of Qin Feng's mouth twitched. He silently put down his hand that was circling around the beauty. This feeling was too awkward. What did these people eat when they were growing up? They are all so tall. Qin Feng was a little resentful. Shirtong's beautiful eyes swept across the unhappy black-robed young man, and a smile unknowingly appeared on her red lips. However, she quickly returned to her cold expression. Actually, he wasn't short and was definitely above average when compared to other youths of the same age. However, the Sky Lion King was naturally tall and burly. However, this black-robed lady's legs were really long and slender. Those shining white thighs made Qin Feng's eyes twitch. Those legs were so alluring. About an hour later, the battle in the gourd cave came to an end. Shulian, Zhang Xian, Yi Qinghua, Jiang Binger, and the others came together. The group looked at the valley that was filled with the remnants of the battle and fell silent. When the group arrived, there were 10 of them. After the continuous battle, only a few of them were left. Such a battle was too cruel. The 4 of them looked exhausted. Even Zhang Xian, who had a cold personality, revealed a trace of sadness. Lin Jiqiu and Hao Lianqing died in Shirtong's hands. Wang Yue was affected by the battle between Qin Feng and Shi Wushuang and died without a complete corpse. The remaining few were also injured. Qin Feng sighed and shook his head. Although Qin Feng had lived for 1,000 years, he had always maintained his original self. He wasn't like some old antiques who were refined by the mortal world and only knew how to cultivate. Such martial artists were actually already dead. Their original self had already disappeared. They had already been affected by the passage of time and had been injured by it. Back then, Qin Feng had also almost lost himself. He barely managed to survive the blade of time, passing the cycle of reincarnation and the test of the heart of the mortal world. Looking at Lin Jiqiu and Hao Lianqing on the ground, Yi Qinghua's eyes were filled with sadness. Let's bury them. This gourd cave is a place of great feng shui. I hope they can be ordinary in their next life and not cultivate martial arts anymore. Jiang Binger looked at them and sighed softly. Let's do it together. After all, we are from the same sect. After experiencing life and death, Jiang Binger had changed a lot. She had grown from being a useless teammate. Now, she had a decisive and murderous aura. Her eyes were sharp. She had the unique temperament of some strong warriors. Although her cultivation hadn't improved, her willpower had become sharper. She didn't look like a rookie who was dragging them down. Qin Feng couldn't help but sigh. Life and death were indeed the best way to sharpen a strong warrior. They buried Lin Jiqiu's long saber and a small gourd together. Lin Jiqiu's body was buried together with Lin Jiqiu's. Lin Jiqiu didn't let go of the small gourd until she died. They didn't have the heart to take it away. Lin Jiqiu and Hao Lianqing were better. At least they still had their corpses. Wang Yue only had a cenotaph and an arm. When this girl died, her body wasn't even found. The 5 of them lowered their heads and didn't speak. The path of the immortal realm was cruel. Qin Feng took out the North Underworld godly water sword and flicked it. The crisp sound of the sword seemed to come from an ancient bell. He sang softly, "Who is at the peak of the immortal realm? Bones piled up into mountains. Bones buried in green hills. Water, martial spirit, speaks of the wind. Alas, it's hard to walk the immortal realm." The deep voice was like a gust of wind blowing over the hills and ridges, blending into the green hills and clear waters. The white clouds in the sky were dyed with a trace of sadness and dimmed quietly. Xuelian, Yi Qinghua, Zhang Xian, and Jiang Binger were silent. This was destined to be a bloody path. Perhaps the next one to be buried would be one of them. Let's go. Let's get out of here. Qin Feng glanced at the three tombs and walked towards the exit of the ancient tomb. Junior brother Qin Feng, where are we going? Yi Qinghua turned around and caught up with Qin Feng. She seemed to have gone through a baptism. Of course, we're going to kill people. No, kill animals. By the way, we'll turn the tide and amaze the world. Senior brother Qin Feng, are you serious? Of course it's true. Humph, peeping Tom, bragging. What peeping Tom? Who did I peep at? Did I look at your butt or your private part? Bastard, I'm going to kill you. A few voices flew over with the wind from afar. Under the setting sun, a few people seemed to have walked over from dusk. Dozens of miles away, a wood tribe expert led a group of people to the edge of the sea of flowers. At this moment, the wood tribe expert's gaze landed on a rock. There was an invisible mark on the rock. It was a bright, superior, serious epiphyllum. Supremacy Mu Hong. This is the mark of the bright Heavenly Lion King tribe. Those people from the Heavenly Lion King tribe are all very arrogant. It seems like the Heavenly Lion King tribe is in big trouble this time. Let's go and take a look. Who is it that can make the Heavenly Lion King tribe put down their arrogance and ask for help? This is the 4th update. Next up is the 5th update and the 12th update. Sigh, it's Double 7th Festival and Valentine's Day. Everyone is dating, but Black Tortoise is still here to catch up. What a sad story. Chapter 291. Ever since he learned from Shi Tong that All Stars College's battle team was in a disadvantageous situation, Qin Feng felt that he had to do something. Qin Feng's original plan was to find a place to peacefully wait for All Stars College's experts to appear and announce the end of the competition. Then, he would safely take first place and obtain the reward. But this plan had undoubtedly failed. For some reason, All Stars College and Demon Temple's experts had entered a stalemate. If he had to wait for All Stars College's rescue, it would probably be impossible in a short period of time. The biggest possibility was that Demon Temple's experts would surround and hunt him down. Although Qin Feng was rather confident in his own strength, facing hundreds and thousands of Demon Temple's experts at once, he definitely wouldn't be able to win. As the saying goes, 2 fists are no match for 4 hands. Even a hero is afraid of being ganged up on. Sigh, the 10 great battle teams are all good-for-nothings. With so many people in their hands, they were actually forced into the Demon Hunter Canyon by Demon Temple's experts and became rats in the gutter. Muttering in his heart, Qin Feng's face was filled with helplessness. I really don't want to save them at all. But if I don't save them, when Demon Temple's experts finish them off, it will definitely be our turn next. His footsteps were light as he walked through the forest. Qin Feng still didn't know that Demon Temple's experts were afraid that these stragglers would slip through the net and had specially sent people to search for them. In order to protect myself, it seems like I have to work a little harder and kill all these Demon Temple bastards. With a cold glint in his eyes, Yi Qinghua, who was acting as a scout ahead, suddenly froze. Not good. There's a large group of Demon Temple's experts ahead. Let's retreat quickly. A trace of fear flashed across Yi Qinghua's face as she shouted a warning. But at this time, there was no need for a warning. It's here. There's the aura of a 2-legged goat here. It's right ahead. Don't let these rats escape. In the distance, an endless stream of whistles could be heard. Following a few loud shouts, one after another, powerful auras flew over from the front like meteors. Qin Feng raised his head, and over 100 experts from the Demon Temple appeared in his eyes. Found it. It's here. The prey is here. An incomparably oppressive aura appeared in the forest. The forest was filled with people. Powerful warriors from the Demon Temple appeared one after another, grinning malevolently. They surrounded the area tightly. There were more than 100 experts from the Demon Temple. The person in the lead was an expert from the Wood Tribe. He looked to be about 15 or 16 years old, and his aura was extremely powerful, not any weaker than Shi Tong. His eyes gleamed with a sinister light as he stared at Qin Feng and the others. His eyes flashed with coldness and ruthlessness. When he swept his gaze across Shi Tong's body, a hint of lust flickered in his eyes, but quickly disappeared. Mu Heng said to the experts beside him. His green eyebrows were like swords, and his eyes flickered with a teasing light like a cat catching a mouse. Looks like we're in luck today. We caught a few mice in one go. Around them, the experts from the other races laughed strangely as they stared at Qin Feng. They surrounded him as if they were looking at a few lambs. Suddenly, Mu Heng sighed softly. What a pity, what a pity. Qin Feng said, What's a pity? It's a pity that after running for so long, you still can't escape death. Mu Heng raised his head, and his eyes instantly sharpened. Qin Feng suddenly laughed. Who says we're running? We're here to kill beasts. Don't be mistaken. You've met me. The ones who should be afraid should be you, not me. After saying that, Qin Feng's figure flashed, and he crossed dozens of feet. He blasted out a galaxy with his palm, and it was like a thunderbolt. Rumble. The surging galaxy suddenly appeared in front of Mu Heng. The look of disdain on Mu Heng's face instantly froze. His eyes revealed a trace of fear. Facing such a majestic galaxy, he was like an ant. He could not even muster up the true power in his body and was unable to use it. So strong, he only had time to spit out 2 words before Qin Feng's galaxy completely drowned him. The genius of the Wood Tribe, the arrogant Mu Heng, who led hundreds of people to show off, only had time to say 2 words before he was killed by Qin Feng. Qin Feng had cultivated true qi of the heavenly way grade and combined it with his martial technique comprehension from his previous life. Even if he was only at the extreme human realm, the yellow realm, the black realm, the earth realm, and the extreme human realm of the heaven realm, he could easily kill an expert of the black realm, let alone an expert of the yellow realm. The group of experts from the demon temple were dumbfounded. To think that their leading prodigy would not even be able to take a single blow from this human before dying. Their eyes were fixed, and they were filled with disbelief. Okay, it's your turn now. After killing Mu Heng in one blow, Qin Feng rushed into the group of experts from the demon temple like a whirlwind. Like a tiger in a flock of sheep, he started a massacre. Qin Feng's martial technique had already reached the pinnacle of perfection. Combined with the memories from his previous life, he wasn't just any ordinary tyrannical person. The experts from the demon temple were strong opponents to normal geniuses, but in Qin Feng's hands, they were just ants. One hit, one kill. Bang, bang, bang. One by one, figures were violently sent flying by Qin Feng. These pitiful experts from the demon temple died without understanding why there was such a terrifying existence in this trial. After more than 200 breaths, the forest was filled with a layer of blood. Qin Feng, dressed in a black robe, appeared in front of Shuel Yin and the rest like a ghost. Shuel Yin, Yi Qinghua, Shi Tong, and the rest stared blankly at the forest filled with corpses. The 4 girls were shocked. They were all dead just like that. With his own strength, he slaughtered hundreds of experts from the demon temple. He was actually so tyrannical. Originally, when Qin Feng defeated Shi Wushuang, the 3 girls had already overestimated Qin Feng's strength. But now, they realized that they had underestimated this black-robed youth. Even if Lin Fei, Jin Rui, and the rest came, they wouldn't be able to suppress him. Shuel Yin felt a chill in her heart. She was glad that she didn't make a move in the Gourd Valley. If she did, with this bastard's personality, he would definitely be humiliated. Qin Feng strolled through the forest, and a red lotus appeared in his hand. He was like an old farmer harvesting the blood essence of the hundreds of experts from the demon temple. A 10th grade red lotus appeared in Qin Feng's hand. The dazzling blood-red lotus made Shuel Yin feel dizzy. It's actually a 10th grade red lotus. How is this possible? Shuel Yin's eyes widened. One had to know that after a white lotus evolved into a red lotus, only by massacring savage beasts or killing a 2nd grade beast king would the red lotus truly evolve. The red lotus evolved from a 1st grade red lotus to a 10th grade red lotus. Either Qin Feng killed a dozen beast kings, or tens of thousands of savage beasts in one go. Shuai Yin was a little dazed. No matter which possibility it was terrifying. After harvesting the blood essence of the Demon Temple's experts, Qin Feng walked up to the three girls. He grabbed Shirtong's waist, ignoring the latter's dissatisfaction. "Let's go to the Demon Hunter Canyon." His figure flickered, bringing Shirtong along as he sped forward. The three girls nodded subconsciously. The shock in their eyes was still fresh in their minds. The three girls couldn't help but follow behind Huang Xiaolong. Zhang Xian's expression was indifferent, like an emotionless puppet as he followed behind. 2 days later, the six of them appeared on top of a mountain peak. Looking down from the top, a long and narrow valley appeared before their eyes. "This is the Demon Hunter Canyon's valley." Narrowing his eyes, Huang Xiaolong looked down from the top. The entire valley was sloped from high to low. At the entrance of the valley, there were hundreds of Demon Temple's experts patrolling. They had sealed off the only exit of the valley. The densely packed Demon Temple's experts gathered together, causing the group's scalp to go numb. "So many people. I'm afraid I can't beat them all alone." Looking at the sea of experts from the Demon Temple, Qin Feng frowned. Suddenly, his eyes brightened. With a wave of his hand, a small white gourd made of ice crystals appeared in his hand. Chapter 292. This was a long and narrow valley entrance, and the valley was like a bottomless pit. Blocking the valley entrance meant blocking the only exit of the entire valley. Close to 1,000 experts from the Demon Temple blocked the entrance of the valley, preparing to catch a turtle in a jar. Anyone who rushed out of the Demon Hunter Valley would be killed by the explosive power of the 1,000 experts. The weakest of the experts from the Demon Temple was at the extreme mortal realm, and many of them had condensed dozens of spiritual veins. They looked abnormally strong and were not inferior to Yi Qinghua. In the middle of the camp, there were dozens of auras that were enough to look down on Shuai Yin. On the mountain peak, the expressions of the few girls turned ugly. Sneak attacking 1,000 people with the strength of a few people, this was not a good idea. If this sentence was not said by Qin Feng, the few girls would not have a good expression. On the mountain peak, Shuai Yin turned to look at Qin Feng and frowned. "Qin Feng, are we really going to sneak attack them? Have you thought it through? There are more than 1,000 experts blocking the entrance of the valley. If they attack together, even a Sea Rebirth Realm expert would die without a complete corpse." Qin Feng's gaze landed on Shuai Yin. She exuded an ice-cold aura. Shuai Yin had condensed a high-grade ice attribute constellation, and what she condensed were all ice attribute glacial spirit veins. She walked the path of a single attribute and was extremely powerful. "Qin Feng, I think we should plan this carefully. There are so many experts from the Demon Temple. The 5 of us are not enough." After speaking, Shuai Yin silently glanced at Shirtong. Shirtong's true power was sealed by Qin Feng, and her beautiful face was expressionless. Could it be that Qin Feng was bewitched by this woman? This Qin Feng seems like he has won a few battles and is overconfident. This is a genius team of 1,000 people, not some small fries. Shuai Yin sighed in her heart. Only Qin Feng could think of such a weird idea with 5 people attacking 1,000 people. How was this a sneak attack? It was a suicide mission. This was crazy. Yi Qinghua and Jiang Binger looked at each other, their eyes filled with reluctance. The 2 women were a little alarmed. When they thought of the hundreds of auras in the valley below that were not weaker than their own, they felt their scalps go numb. After a slight hesitation, Yi Qinghua said to the black-robed young man, "Junior brother Qin Feng, I agree with senior sister Shuai Yin. There are close to 1,000 geniuses from the Demon Temple in the Demon Hunter Valley. Although you are strong, you can't fight against so many. If the 5 of us go and ambush 1,000 of them..." This Yi Qinghua did not finish her sentence, but everyone present understood what she meant. By the side, Shirtong's beautiful eyes swept over Qin Feng as a mocking smile appeared on her face. "This 2-legged sheep is really crazy. Does he really think that he is strong enough to sweep away 1,000 soldiers? There are nearly 1,000 warriors from the Temple of 1,000, and even the weakest of them is at the extreme mortal realm. When 1,000 of them work together, even a martial arts giant would have to frown. He actually wants to sneak attack 1,000 people by himself. This person is simply crazy. Crazy? I don't think so. Qin Feng's eyes flickered as he took in everyone's thoughts. His face was expressionless as he thought to himself. The icebound gourd is a treasure of heaven and earth formed on the spiritual root of the gourd for thousands of years. This gourd contains an immeasurable amount of ice essence. Once it explodes, not to mention 1,000 people, it is not impossible to wipe out all the warriors from the Demon Temple in the Demon Hunter Valley. After a moment of silence, Qin Feng glanced at the three women and said, "I have my own plans for this." After which, Qin Feng lowered his head to look at the foot of the mountain, and a cold smile appeared on his lips. He glanced at the sky, and in a flash, he appeared beside Shirtong. Grabbing the latter's slender waist, he dashed down the mountain. Shulian, Yi Qinghua, and the others looked at each other and hesitated. After a moment, they finally gritted their teeth and chased after Qin Feng. The Demon Hunter Valley was gloomy and damp. It was like a dragon's nest. Walking through the tunnels, one could see the winding body of a true dragon. However, there was a trace of gloominess and coldness in the caves. It looked abnormally evil. There were even tall mountains, stone mountains, and bamboo forests in the caves. However, everything here was black. The color of the trees also carried a trace of darkness. A group of close to 2,000 Demon Temple warriors lined up in a row in the tunnels. The leaders were the kings of the 12 strongest races. This time, more than half of the 12 strongest races were mobilized. Sky Scorpion Imperial Race's Genius Gu Ling, Greenwood Imperial Race's Genius Mu Wu, Sky Serpent Imperial Race's Young Palace Lord Yu Ji, Golden Wing Imperial Race's Peerless Genius Little Peng King, White Tiger Imperial Race's Young Lord Bai Yu, and the Ape Race's Royal Chaos Demonic Ape. The mighty group was led by 6 of the Imperial Race's geniuses. It was unstoppable. Along the way, some All-Stars College warriors who intended to rely on the complicated terrain left behind a trail of corpses. They fled in panic. At this moment, the eyes of one of the experts at the very front suddenly flickered. This person had sharp eyes, a fair complexion, and golden hair draped over his shoulders. His eyes were golden, as resplendent as his gaze, and his figure was extremely heroic. He suddenly stretched out a hand, and a beam of golden light shot out. Dozens of meters away, a huge rock and a young warrior behind it were struck by the beam of golden light. This young warrior's eyes flashed with a trace of unwillingness. A bloody hole appeared between his brows, and blood gushed out. In the next moment, his body fell to the ground with a loud bang. This beam of golden light had actually shattered his skull, and even erased his soul. The golden light flashed and appeared in front of the young warrior. This was an exceptionally handsome young man. He was 15 or 16 years old, and his eyes were filled with wildness and callousness. The aura around him was abnormally tyrannical, like a mountain pressing down on people's hearts. These so-called experts of All-Stars College are so weak. I can easily crush them with one hand. This young man was quite arrogant, and his golden eyes were filled with arrogance and disdain. I really don't understand. Why did the elders send all the experts of the 12 races out at once? My golden-winged race is enough to deal with these 2-legged sheep. Many of the Divine Temple's experts looked at this scene silently and thought to themselves, "The golden-winged little Rock King is indeed one of the 10 strongest of the Divine Temple's younger generation. The golden-winged Great Rock King's bloodline is truly terrifying." The White Tiger Young Lord Baiyu chuckled. "It's fine, golden-winged little Rock King. This time, we'll just treat these 2-legged sheep as a game. We need to relax after cultivating. Don't you think these 2-legged sheep are the best things for us to relax? Look, we'll slowly surround them, chase them, and finally drive them into the sheepfold to hunt them down slowly. We'll find them one by one, drain their blood, and extinguish their hopes. Isn't this very interesting? Baiyu was extremely cruel. This white tiger royal race expert's eyes flickered with ferocity, and an invisible killing intent made people tremble. Haha, think about it. Those experts of All Stars College can only watch as their disciples are hunted down by us one by one, and they're powerless to do anything. Don't you feel that it's very painful? To be able to make those experts who are comparable to the emperors of my race feel pain, depression, and anger. How interesting is this? Today's fifth update. This is the first update. Chapter 293. The chaotic world. Demonic ape was tall and had long black hair. Its black hair danced in the wind, and its scarlet eyes were cold. I think the elders would be happy to see this. Baiyu said, "The situation is under our control now. The remaining people of All Stars College have gathered at the Demon Mountain in the deepest part of the Demon Hunter Canyon. This is the slaughterhouse we prepared for them. It would be best if we could capture the experts of All Stars College. It would be best if some of them surrendered. Then our divine temple would completely trample All Stars College under our feet. If we could make the experts of All Stars College kneel and surrender, it would be a huge blow to All Stars College." An expert from the Heavenly Serpent clan laughed. "I heard that there are many female students among the experts of All Stars College. These female students are as beautiful as flowers and as beautiful as fairies. Their aptitudes are high and their physiques are pure. If we could bring them back to the wilderness, it would be a luxury." Gu Ling was cruel and said directly, "Our clan needs some. As the mother, pure blood and flesh are the best breeding grounds for our children. With such a mother's blood and flesh, our children will be even more powerful when they are born. Our White Tiger Royal clan also needs some female slaves. These high-quality female slaves can be refined into host slaves with a secret method. Our clan also needs some high-quality female slaves. These female slaves are the best gifts for the guests of the banquet." The experts of the various clans talked one after another. They had already divided All Stars College like fish on the chopping board. The main topic of the competition was the few female experts of All Stars College. Demon Mountain in the depths of the Demon Hunter Canyon. This was a black mountain that towered in the depths of the Demon Hunter Canyon. The atmosphere was gloomy and gloomy. An aura of despair shrouded this place. The remaining experts of the 10 battle teams were all gathered here. Nearly 200 young men and women were gathered together. They were led by some temporary leaders of the 10 battle teams. Lin Fei, the leader of the Sky Sea Pavilion, was surrounded by a dozen girls, including Ji Huang, Lu Qingxue, and Du Pingxia. She was like a queen surrounded by stars. On the other side was the temporary leader of the Absolute Beginning Battle Team, Jean Rui. Jean Rui's battle robe was stained with blood. On his left and right were Battle King Ouyang Yu and Fiery Lord Luo Lai. Tuobi Yi, Lu Qingyang, and Li Qiubai, whom Qin Feng was familiar with, were also below. Their bodies were stained with blood, and each of them held a long sword. Their killing intent was astonishing, and it was obvious that they had gone through a series of bloody battles. There were many experts in the 5 Elements battle team this time, but it was also the most tragic. Among the 5 kings, the Tiger King and the Panther King had died in battle, leaving only the Wolf King Zhao Xianming, the Ghost King Wu Ying, the Wood King Lin Tong, and a few others. There was also the leader of the Moon battle team, Bai Xianyue, the leader of the White Sun battle team, Bloodbat King, and the leader of the Blue Water battle team, Blue Water Traceless, Luo Junwan. Only 6 of the 10 battle teams were left. The experts of the other 4 battle teams, the Lioli battle team, the Silver Feather battle team, the Six Paths battle team, and the North Sea battle team had all been crippled. The temporary leaders had died in battle, and only a few were left. Warriors were lying everywhere on the Demon Mountain. Many of them were severely injured and were struggling at death's door. Some of them had lost their limbs and fainted due to excessive loss. In the corner, there were a few new experts who did not belong to the 10 battle teams. The remaining freshmen were gathered here, led by the black tortoise chief Lu Tianjun and the white tiger chief Qi Ling-er. In addition, there were two unfamiliar experts from Xingqian School. These people were abnormally strong. Although they were only at the 12th heaven of martial arts, they were not inferior to ordinary experts of the extreme human realm of the Meridian's condensation stage. The few freshmen huddled together for warmth. Among them were Qin Feng's old friends, Lu Chunyang and Xiao Yuchan. Lu Chunyang and Xiao Yuchan were both seriously injured. Two white lotus marks floated on their bodies, and they were healing according to the profound qi stored in the marks. Qian Kai stood in the corner with a gloomy expression. No one knew what he was thinking. At this moment, a pale-faced young martial artist in black robes flew out from a cave near the Demon Mountain. He was covering his shoulder. There was an obvious claw mark on his shoulder, revealing the white bone. Lin Fei and Jean Rui's expression changed slightly. They quickly led the group to welcome him. Would King Lin Tong of the Five Elements battle team walked forward. A green radiance flashed in his hand. The next moment, it landed on the injured young man. The injured young man's shoulder rapidly stopped bleeding. Lu Yi, what happened to you? Who injured you like this? Lin Fei's beautiful face revealed a trace of coldness. There was an extremely powerful aura on her body. It was very shocking. It's the little rock king of the golden-winged great rock race. He only used one move to kill all our brothers. What? It's this beast again. The leader of the Silver Plume battle team, Wu Qinquan, was killed by this beast. The Liuli battle team was also defeated by the golden-winged race. The crowd was in an uproar. Many of the All-Stars College's geniuses had a trace of fear in their eyes. The Little Rock King was famous. He was one of the top 10 youths of the Demon Temple. He was a top monstrous genius. Some of the All-Stars College's geniuses were restless. Some of them had already taken out their weapons. Many of the geniuses in the crowd were whispering, "What should we do now? What do you mean, what should we do? It's already over." Lu Yi led 50 people to guard the dragon's ceiling pass. It's the last natural checkpoint from the Demon Hunting Canyon to the Demon Mountain. In at most 2 hours, the Demon Temple's geniuses will be here. What's there to be afraid of? Let's fight it out with them. What do we have to fight it out with? The Demon Temple's 12 major clans have at least 1 or 2,000 people chasing us. There's also the Little Rock King, White Tiger Young Emperor, Sky Scorpion King, and other top geniuses. We only have 200 people left. Moreover, most of them are injured or crippled. Most of them don't have any combat strength. There are also some freshmen below the pulse condensation realm. How can we fight them? Then let's run. Can we run? There are several passages in the Demon Mountain, but they've all been blocked. We've already fallen into a desperate situation. The entire Demon Mountain was immersed in a bleak wind and rain. Many geniuses had looks of despair and unwillingness in their eyes. Lin Fei and Jean Rui looked at each other and saw the fighting spirit in each other's eyes. They would fight to the death. Some of the All-Stars College's geniuses took out their weapons and started wiping them. The injured geniuses leaning against the stone mountain stood up. The entire Demon Mountain gradually quieted down. It was filled with a sense of determination. In the corner, an old voice laughed in Qian Kai's mind. "Kid Qian, your chance to amaze the world has come." Qian Kai's eyes were filled with surprise. "Revered elder, you've awakened. But what do you mean?" "That's right. After absorbing the pure essence of this white lotus, this old man's injuries have recovered by a bit. Kid, your chance to perform a meritorious deed has come. Your chance to suppress that Qin Feng has come. You're about to become a hero of All-Stars College. You might even enter Xingqian School in one fell swoop." This is the second update. There's still 3 chapters to go. Chapter 294. Honorable Elder, please advise me. Qian Kai was overjoyed. To be able to trample Qin Feng under his feet had always been his wish. And, Kid Qian, this old man has some impression of this Demon Hunter Canyon. This is a place of extreme, and extreme evil. The ancient records state that this place is sealed with a dimensional seal of the earth abyss. This is wrong. This old man has been here before. What is sealed here is a fiendish nether spring. Fiendish nether spring? It can't be. Isn't that the extremely rare extreme volcano in the legends? Could there be an extreme volcano underground? Qian Kai cried out in his heart. His scalp went numb. The extreme volcano was a poisonous volcano formed from countless evil auras, resentment auras, and poison auras. Once it erupted, it would be a 10,000-li poison stream that would turn the world upside down. The aged voice continued. Yes, it is the extreme volcano. Later, use the Inferno Divine Pearl to pierce through the earth vein and detonate this fiendish nether spring. Let those fiendish demon temples, other races come and die. Qian Kai revealed a difficult expression. But Honorable Elder, we are dead for sure. Don't worry. With me here, nothing will happen to you. This Honorable Elder naturally has a way to help you avoid the danger of this fiendish nether springs eruption. Qian Kai's eyes were somewhat moved, but he was still somewhat hesitant. What a joke! If this fiendish nether spring exploded, its power could even blow up the skyscraper ridge, and all living creatures within a radius of 10,000 li would die. Outside the Demon Hunter Canyon, there were still some elites from the Stellar Academy. If all of them were to die, Qian Kai's expression changed. This Honorable Elder's words were somewhat unreliable. The aged voice in his mind seemed to have seen through Qian Kai's hesitation and said somewhat bewitchingly, Kid, this is a rare opportunity. If you can kill all the experts of the fiendish demon temple in one fell swoop, not only will your fellow disciples be deeply grateful to you, those All-Stars College elders who have been secretly watching you will also see you in a new light. You will be indirectly saving their futures. At that time, you will become the darling of the All-Star Academy. You will soar into the sky with a single call. You will be able to summon the wind and rain. That Qin Feng is nothing. You only need to lift your leg, and you will be able to kick him under your feet. At the mention of Qin Feng, Qian Kai's eyes flashed with a trace of resentment. He had been having a hard time these days. Ever since he failed to rob Qin Feng's cave, he was robbed by Qin Feng instead. He had lost most of his treasures. Especially that time, the spatial explosion had almost killed him and Elder Zoom at the same time. If it wasn't for the revered elder's remarkable abilities, the two of them might have died. Qin Feng, clenching his teeth, Qian Kai nodded. All right, revered elder, don't worry. I'll think of a way to open up the earth vein and ignite the volcano. It's done. This brat has finally let down his guard. Good. In the depths of Qian Kai's soul, supreme spiritual ruins revealed a cold and proud smile. The explosion of the fiendish nether spring was not a simple matter. Even a martial overlord might die from the explosion. How could the half-crippled supreme spiritual mound have the ability to save everyone? Once the fiendish nether spring was stimulated by the violent yang and energy in the Inferno Divine Pearl, it would immediately explode. Then, the geniuses of All-Stars College and Demon Temple would be completely blown to pieces. If I'm not wrong, there must be an immeasurable fiendish pearl in the fiendish nether spring. This pearl is a treasure of heaven and earth condensed from the immeasurable fiendish energy. If I can obtain this treasure, I'll definitely be able to reconstruct my true body. A trace of excitement flashed across the old voice's face. As for the life and death of Qian Kai and the rest, it had nothing to do with him. Outside the entrance of the Demon Hunter Canyon, Qin Feng and the rest appear behind a rock a few hundred feet away from the canyon. Looking from behind the rock, they could see the entrance of the Demon Hunter Canyon. At this time, there were dozens of Demon Temple experts patrolling the entrance. There were also Golden Wing experts flying in the sky. The experts of the Golden Wings clan spread their wings, and their eyes were as sharp as an eagle's. Junior brother, what should we do next? Yi Qinghua looked at Qin Feng with hesitation. Staring at Qin Feng, Shirtong's beautiful eyes revealed a trace of looking at a madman. She said repeatedly, You're crazy. You're really crazy. You actually want to sneak attack everyone with your strength alone. You're trying to smash an egg against a rock. You're courting death. Qin Feng flipped over and suddenly reached out a hand to grab Shirtong's chin. His face came close, and his dark and deep eyes looked at Shirtong. Shirtong was a little flustered, and in the next moment, She glared at Qin Feng. Get lost. Your mouth is not cute at all. Qin Feng let go of Shi Tong and shook his head. Shi Tong's eyes flashed with a trace of coldness. If Qin Feng released her seal now, she would immediately rush up and stab Qin Feng. Qin Feng took out an icebound gourd. His eyes flickered with brilliance as he thought to himself. Although this icebound gourd is a rare treasure born from a 2,000-year-old gourd spirit root with considerable power, I'm afraid it's not enough to freeze the entire Demon Hunter Canyon. His eyes revealed a trace of reluctance. Qin Feng had a secret technique in his mind called the soul sacrifice technique. Using this secret technique could temporarily increase the power of some rare treasures by more than 3 times. Qin Feng was very familiar with this secret technique. If he could, he would be able to use it. However, this secret technique had a serious side effect. Once this secret technique was used, this icebound gourd would be completely useless. Generally speaking, even if martial experts knew about this secret technique, no one would be willing to waste a rare treasure like this. Rare treasures were born from the heavens and earth. They were simply too precious. Such treasures were not only extremely powerful, but they also contained some creation of the heavens and earth. If one was willing, it was possible to comprehend the principles of the heavens and earth contained within the treasure and turn them into one's own. Playing with this icebound gourd, Qin Feng sighed in his heart for a moment. Well, since I've already planted this rare gourd spirit root in the boundless heavens and earth, as long as there's spirit water, this precious gourd will be endless. You can't trap the wolf without sacrificing the child. Qin Feng's eyes fell on the icebound gourd. If he used the soul sacrifice technique to refine the icebound gourd, the power of this gourd would definitely increase by several times in a short period of time. Looking at the icebound gourd in his hand, Qin Feng glanced at everyone and said, "You guys protect me." After saying that, Qin Feng sat down cross-legged and closed his eyes slightly. The star true power in his body flowed slowly. His hands clasped together, and a strange seal circled around his fingertips. As this seal formed, a trace of ancient and savage aura lingered around him. Shuelyan, Yi Qinghua, and the others looked at each other. It was as if they saw the ancient and savage ancestors of the human race drinking raw meat and sacrificing it to the gods. A silver-white brilliance flickered on the surface of his body, and a trace of silver-white true power began to appear in the palm of his hand. Not long after, a few minutes later, a silver-white light seal was formed. In the light seal, 2 immemorial characters faintly appeared, revealing a savage and ancient aura. If there was a knowledgeable martial artist, he would be able to recognize that these were 2 immemorial characters. Sacrifice. These characters had an inexplicable power. It was rumored that the ancient experts could use this method to sacrifice to the heavens and earth and obtain the favor of the gods in the unseen world and obtain invisible help. The 2 ancient characters instantly sank into the icebound gourd. After being cleansed by these 2 ancient characters, the icebound gourd bloomed with divine light, as if it was greatly nourished, revealing a trace of a more lively luster. This is the 3rd chapter. There are 2 more chapters. The climax is coming. Chapter 295. In the sky, white clouds drifted leisurely as dozens of experts faced each other. The experts from both sides were clearly separated. The skyscraper ridge beneath their feet was like a giant demonic dragon, majestic and grand. The fiend demon temple's emperors were all smiling, their faces filled with complacency. Shi Wushuang, who had disappeared, was standing behind one of the sovereigns who had a strong back and a bare waist. His brows were lowered, and his eyes were filled with unwillingness and anger. On the contrary, an expert from All Stars College had a gloomy expression. In the Demon Hunter Canyon, All Stars College's geniuses were in danger. The experts from both sides were clear as day. The outcome is already decided. Ouyang Su, Yuqing Tian, this time, All Stars College has lost. It seems like the geniuses of All Stars College are nothing more than this. The one who spoke was the Sky Scorpion Emperor. He was a middle-aged man with fair skin, a pale face, and gloomy eyes. He was wearing a cicada robe, and his eyes were narrowed with a smile. He was stabbing a knife into the hearts of the All Stars College's elders. The Wood Emperor chuckled. 10 Spirit Mountain's blessed lands are in our hands. What a great harvest! As he sighed, his tone suddenly changed. However, the women of the human race are not bad. This emperor has already instructed my son to show mercy to the human elites when the time comes. Tiger Emperor smiled and said, "So, Brother Mu has already prepared for this. I've also told by you, my son, to be gentle with her. After all, she is a supreme-grade material for making Hua slaves." The Tiger Emperor's eyes were overbearing, and his words were incomparably sinister. Huan slaves were similar to battle slaves, a type of slave that was completely under the control of the master. The difference was that Huan's slaves had complete intelligence, but could never escape from slavery and torture. This kind of secret technique was the most vicious and inhumane. The enslaved women would never be able to free themselves. This was an eternal pain. The Sky Serpent Emperor's true body was shrouded in a black robe, and it was impossible to tell if he was a man or a woman. His voice was strange, as he laughed strangely with a hoarse voice. "Kiki, this time, All Stars College is destined to become famous." All Stars College's newest batch of geniuses were all killed by the wilderness younger generation experts. Is All Stars College's reputation undeserved? Has All Stars College declined? What do you think of this news? The faces of the experts from All Stars College turned cold, and their complexions became more and more unsightly. Behind a rock, Qin Feng's silver-white true power turned into 2 primordial god scriptures and fell into the icebound gourd. The icebound gourd's body revealed a trace of sparkling and translucent radiance, as if it had swallowed some divine object. Suddenly, it was greatly nourished, and the entire gourd was emitting a divine light. Qin Feng closed his eyes. He could feel all the potential of the icebound gourd being stimulated. It was growing with every passing moment. A surge of ice-sealing power was surging. If he couldn't pour it out, the gourd would explode in at most 15 minutes. The ice-sealing gourd was a treasure of heaven and earth. Moreover, it had been activated by Qin Feng with a secret method. The explosion at this moment was no less than the self-destruction of a martial arts giant. What kind of treasure is this? Everyone's expression changed slightly as they looked at the gourd in Qin Feng's hand. This treasured gourd glowed brightly, and its body flowed with a natural mystery that belonged to a precious treasure of heaven and earth. With a single glance, one could tell that it was an extraordinary item. It's a gourd formed by a 1,000-year-old gourd spirit root. Xuelian's beautiful eyes trembled. She recognized it immediately. When she entered the gourd cave, she had also encountered a 1,000-year-old gourd vine. However, that gourd vine was empty. At that time, she had wanted to search carefully. However, she didn't know about formations and didn't dare to wander around. She didn't expect Qin Feng to pick a spiritual gourd. Xuelian's beautiful eyes revealed a trace of bitterness and envy. What? A spiritual gourd formed by a 1,000-year-old gourd spirit root? Hearing that, Yi Qinghua and Zhang Bing'er were also shocked. They couldn't help but reveal a trace of passion in their beautiful eyes. A treasured gourd formed by a 1,000-year-old spirit root. This was a precious treasure of heaven and earth. A precious treasure of heaven and earth could only be encountered by chance. If this small gourd was exchanged at the All Stars College's contribution hall, it would be worth at least tens of thousands of points. With tens of thousands of points, one could buy tens of thousands of years-old spirit herbs. Moreover, it was priceless. If I can have a gourd like this, even if I encounter a young emperor from the fiendish demon clan, I won't be afraid of them at all. Yi Qinghua secretly sighed as she thought to herself, "All of you back off. Camera will take action later." Qin Feng stroked the icebound gourd in his hand. A trace of intense heartache flashed across his eyes. It was such a waste to use this treasure as a one-time consumable. Suppressing the heartache in his eyes, He turned it into a heart full of killing intent. Raising his head, Qin Feng's eyes flashed fiercely. His figure flashed, and in the next breath, he appeared 100 feet away from the Demon Hunter Valley. Seeing people from All Stars College suddenly swaggering outside the valley, the fiendish demon temple experts patrolling the surroundings were shocked. The next moment, they laughed loudly. It's the two-legged sheep. Is this two-legged sheep crazy? He actually delivered himself to our doorstep. Audacious two-legged sheep. He actually dares to appear directly in the Demon Hunter Valley. Kill him. A fat sheep has come to our doorstep. Wonderful. Chop him into pieces. I want to eat him raw. The fiendish demon temple experts let out excited roars. Sand and stones flew everywhere, and dark clouds covered the sun. One expert after another flew towards Qin Feng with a sinister smile. Rumble. The commotion outside had alarmed all the powerhouses in the Demon Hunter Canyon. One after another, experts charged out from the camp at the entrance of the Demon Hunter Valley. Qin Feng was expressionless as he took out an icebound gourd. Silently, he removed the seal on the gourd and aimed it at the Demon Hunter Valley. A silent and colorless cold wind blew out. As the cold wind blew, one of the fiendish demon temple experts charging towards Qin Feng was startled. In the next moment, a trace of panic appeared in his eyes, and he quickly retreated. Not good, it's the ice soul-chilling wind. Everyone run. This cold wind can freeze a second-order beast king to death. Here were the elites of the various races under the fiendish demon temple's leadership. How could this two-legged sheep have such a thing? Some of the fiendish demon temple experts were so frightened that their legs turned to jelly. Too late, we can't escape. Qin Feng's eyes were filled with killing intent. The cold wind was like a gentle breeze, extremely fast. In just 2 breaths, it had caught up to the Fiend Devil Temple's experts who were trying to escape. These Fiend Devil Temple's elites were frozen solid in the blink of an eye. Pung! In the sky, several White Crane Race, Shadow Swallow Race, and Scarlet Hawk Race geniuses turned into ice sculptures and fell to the ground. With a loud bang, their bodies were blasted apart, turning into pieces of blood-red ice crystals, scattering all over the ground. With a trace of coldness in his eyes, Qin Feng's figure flashed and appeared at the entrance of the valley. The calabash aimed at the demonic camp stationed at the entrance of the valley. A cold wind howled, and the hundreds of demonic camps instantly turned into transparent ice sculptures in the cold wind. Some of the fiendish demon temple experts who were about to leave their tents were instantly frozen solid. Their expressions were lifelike, and their fear had yet to dissipate. The ice sculptures emitted a natural chill. Thousands of fiendish demon temple elites were wiped out in less than 10 breaths. Qin Feng weighed the gourd in his hand. This icebound gourd seemed to contain the extreme chill of an ancient glacier. The fiendish demon camp at the entrance of the icebound gorge had only used 1/10 of the ice spirit essence chi. This treasure was bulging and was about to explode. A trace of malevolence flashed in his eyes. With a flash, a black shadow appeared at the entrance of the Demon Hunter Gorge 100 zhang away. After a slight hesitation, Qin Feng's eyes flashed with an ominous glint. He raised his hand and aimed the mouth of the gourd at the only entrance of the Demon Hunter Gorge. The ice spirit essence chi carried the cold wind and endlessly poured into the depths of the Demon Hunter Gorge. This ice spirit essence chi was the extreme cold energy of heaven and earth. Whatever ice spirit essence chi or ice spirit essence chi had to bow before it. Once hit by the ice spirit essence chi, even a sea reincarnation realm expert would inevitably turn into an ice sculpture. In the depths of the Demon Hunter Gorge, an extremely cold ice spirit essence chi swept through the entire Demon Hunter Gorge. The experts at the back of the huge group of fiendish demon experts who were rushing towards the Demon Mountain were instantly turned into ice crystals. They didn't even have time to react. The entire Demon Hunter Gorge seemed to be covered by a layer of invisible, colorless, and transparent ice. In just 2 breaths, close to 1,000 people were completely frozen. The 6 young emperors who were rushing towards the demon mountain instantly realized that something was wrong behind them. They turned around and looked behind them. The people who were chatting cheerfully and were about to divide up the All-Stars College were like frightened rabbits. Not good. It's the ice spirit chilling wind. Run. The 6 young emperors looked at each other with a trace of deep fear in their eyes. A trace of exasperation burst forth from their eyes. This was cheating. The 6 of them madly rushed towards the demon mountain. Chapter 296. He really killed over 1,000 experts from the demon temple with just a few people? Could the power of this treasure be so tyrannical? Behind the boulder, several people looked at the thousands of experts from the demon temple who were sealed in ice in shock. Many of the experts from the demon temple who were sealed in ice had condensed over a dozen spirit veins and were not any weaker than them. Now, all of them were sealed in ice without any resistance. Treasure of heaven and earth, your All-Stars College is breaking the rules. In the sky, the Scorpion Emperor was incomparably furious. 2,000 elites died in an instant. The smiles on the sovereigns' faces stiffened, and their expressions turned ashen. These were the elites of the hundreds of races in the savage region. Originally, they wanted to train these elites and use the blood of the human race to awaken their tiger and wolf hearts. This time, all of them died here. The sovereigns were so angry that their lungs were about to explode. Yu Qingtian swept away his gloomy mood and laughed loudly. Scorpion Emperor, who said he broke the rules. Didn't you see it earlier? He entered the natural maze by mistake and brought out the treasure. That is his innate opportunity. How can this be considered breaking the rules? The Tiger Emperor squeezed out a few words from his teeth. This emperor proposes to confiscate the treasure and kill this kid. This kid used the treasure of heaven and earth to break the agreement. His crime is unforgivable. The Wood Emperor said expressionlessly, but his eyes were filled with killing intent. This emperor agrees. The Sky Serpent Emperor smiled eerily, and a substantial cold air froze the endless void. Agree. A purple-clothed expert stepped forward and interrupted. What's the use of your agreement? Dozens of feet away, Yu Qingtian sneered. You don't follow the rules and are ready to shed all pretense of cordiality? Do you think our All-Stars College is afraid of you? A gray-clothed giant roared toward the sky. Ha! How refreshing. They're all dead. It's good that they died. Come, who's afraid of you if you want to fight? This seat also wants to experience the methods of the savage region's sovereigns. How about it? I already knew that you beasts don't follow the rules. Since you want to fall out, I'll accompany you to the end. A female giant giggled. Her beautiful eyes rippled, and a surge of battle intent stirred the clouds. With a swoosh, a 4-foot-long sword appeared in the other giant's hand. He was like a supreme divine sword. Ouyang Su also took a step forward without batting an eyelid. A monstrous aura surged from his body. Wind, thunder, rain, and lightning, an invisible phenomenon lingered around him. The entire void would be refined. His aged face was indifferent. However, the power in his eyes caused people to feel fear from the depths of their souls. Even the void was trembling. The emperors from Demon Temple had gloomy expressions. This All-Stars College was more unyielding than they had imagined. The sovereigns' faces were gloomy. Their gazes fell on a black-robed young man in front of the Demon Hunter Canyon who was holding a gourd and recklessly spitting out icy winds. They wanted nothing more than to grind his bones and scatter his ashes. Qin Feng had no idea that he was being targeted by a few savage sovereigns. They wanted nothing more than to kill him. Qin Feng blocked the Demon Hunter Canyon all by himself and unleashed the last of the Icebound Gourd's power. He could feel that the Icebound Gourd's power was getting stronger and stronger. It was about to explode. His eyes revealed a trace of fierceness. He activated the gourd and activated his true power. He turned the Icebound Gourd into a sharp arrow and shot it into the canyon. At the same time, Qin Feng did not even turn his head. He turned around and activated his true power with all his might and sped out of the canyon. After 2 breaths, he was already a few hundred feet away. Rumble. An earth-shattering explosion occurred in the Demon Hunter Canyon behind him. A terrifying cold current burst out. The Demon Hunter Canyon was shaking. More than half of the Demon Hunter Canyon was blown up. The earth-shattering explosion was accompanied by the sound of the earth veins being destroyed. This place was like an eye of ice. Countless cold air began to spurt out from the Demon Hunter Canyon. Rumble. Waves of energy mixed with icy winds swept over from behind. Qin Feng's face changed. With a thought, the northern underworld godly water sword's light wrapped around his body. Flying on the sword. Pucci. His speed increased again. A ray of icy blue light streaked across the sky. It flashed a few hundred feet and landed behind a rock. It pressed down on Shi Tong, who was looking around. Lower your head. Qin Feng's furious roar caused Xu Lian, Yi Qinghua, Zhang Xian, and the others' expressions to change as they hurriedly lowered their heads. At the same time, a gust of cold wind blew over their heads, and the several zhang radius behind them instantly turned pure white. A majestic star, true power flowed out from Qin Feng's body, enveloping the 6 of them. Pung, 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 like raindrops hitting a banana leaf. Countless cold winds fell onto the silver-white barrier, blooming out circles and circles of ripples. Wisps of icy cold air attached to the silver passport. Qin Feng shuddered, as if he had fallen into an ice cave. This icy spirit essence qi is actually so terrifying. Qin Feng's eyes were filled with shock. Using the icy spirit essence qi to blow others, Qin Feng did not think that it was that powerful. But at this moment, when the icy spirit essence qi swept over his body, he suddenly realized how terrifying it was. Qin Feng's heavenly Tao star true power was somewhat difficult to circulate. It was not only stiff, but also 10 times harder than usual. The heavenly Tao star true power was tyrannically crushing the icy spirit essence qi that invaded his body. It turned the icy spirit essence qi into a ball of slightly cold and pure yuan qi. It was then refined and devoured, replenishing Qin Feng's consumption. Rumble. After the storm of the icebound gourd's explosion subsided, Qin Feng's star true power was still replenished. Qin Feng and the others raised their heads. At this moment, they were surprised to find that the entire skyscraper ridge was covered in heavy snow. Affected by the icy soul energy, the sky and earth within several tens of thousands of miles were dark, and heavy snowflakes were drifting down. Xu Lian sat in the same place. She was actually immersed in cultivation. The spirit veins in her body swam like true dragons from the ice river. She was gathering the most condensed, icy spirit true power to refine the ice river spirit veins. Senior sister Xu Lian is really lucky. With such a dense, icy spirit essence qi, she just needs to cultivate for a few days. Who knows, she might be able to refine a few ice river spirit veins. Yi Qinghua's eyes were filled with envy. This icy spirit essence qi was only effective for ice attribute experts. In fact, this icebound gourd might be able to unleash its greatest potential in Xu Lian's hands. If she had the icebound gourd, Xu Lian might be able to refine more ice river spirit veins. She might even be able to reach the half-step sea revolution realm. Whoosh! Whoosh! The cold wind howled. The entire skyscraper ridge was covered in white. Qin Feng raised his head and let go of Shi Tong's waist. In a flash, he appeared at the entrance of the Demon Hunter Valley. Qin Feng almost couldn't recognize the Demon Hunter Valley in front of him. The entire Demon Hunter Valley had been flattened. There was a huge hole in the center. Countless cold air was wreaking havoc, spewing out gusts of cold wind that could freeze heaven and earth. A smile appeared on Qin Feng's face. With this kind of ability, the experts from a demon temple would definitely be turned into ice sculptures and die. Thousands of experts from the demon temple had been wiped out by him. Whoosh! A few voices flashed. Yi Qinghua, Jiang Binger, and Zhang Xian appeared behind Qin Feng. They looked at the flattened Demon Hunter Valley. The girls felt their scalps go numb. This kind of ability was even more terrifying than a disaster. Behind them, Zhang Binger said after hesitating for a while. Senior brother Qin Feng, do you think the experts from our college will also be? Chapter 297. Qin Feng's smile froze as he said with uncertainty. This, I don't think so. Hearing Qin Feng's uncertain tone, Yi Qinghua and Zhang Binger looked at each other and shuddered. This junior brother Qin Feng was too black-hearted. If I'm not black-hearted, all of you will die. Taking in Yi Qinghua and Zhang Binger's expressions, Qin Feng's eyes flickered with a trace of emotion. All-Stars College and Demon Temple, it was either you die or I die. In this kind of life and death battle, how could Qin Feng care about others? As long as he could deal with the threat, Qin Feng didn't care about the others. Just as Qin Feng and the rest stood on the ruins of the Demon Hunter Canyon and watched. Underground, in the gloomy Demon Mountain, a crimson light burst out. Lin Fei, Jin Rui, and the rest stood at the foot of the mountain, huddled together. In the center, Qian Kai was surrounded by a crimson light, and a crimson bead was emitting a warm aura. The Inferno Divine Bead. This was a fire attribute treasure formed by the Earth Fiend Skyfire after countless years of condensation in the Earth's core. This item was of the utmost Yang attribute, a supreme treasure for condensing fire attribute spirit veins. Countless invisible icy cold winds blew from all directions. Countless icy cold winds blew on the crimson light emitted by the Inferno Divine Bead and instantly melted like snow under the sun. Jin Rui, Lin Fei, Ouyang Yu, Luo Lai, and the rest felt a lingering fear. That terrifying icy cold wind was truly terrifying. If it wasn't for this Inferno Divine Bead, they would have died. When they came to their senses, they were filled with anger. Where did this icy cold wind come from? Who did it? Such a terrifying icy cold wind wouldn't appear in the Demon Hunter Canyon for no reason. Zhao Xuanming's eyes were slightly distorted. If I find out who did it, I won't let that guy go. Ghost King Wu Ying smiled sinisterly. Luo Junwang said indifferently. Let's put this matter aside for now. Fortunately, junior brother Qian has such a treasure in his hands this time. Otherwise, we would all be frozen into popsicles. Luo Junwang mouth turned around and looked at the Inferno Divine Pearl above Qian Kai's head. This item was truly a supreme treasure. The Bloodbat King's eyes were filled with astonishment. Then, a fiery light flashed in his eyes. This Raging Flame Divine Bead is truly a wondrous item. I never thought that junior brother Qian Kai would have such an item on him. With this item, not to mention the ice soul chilling wind, any ice or fire attribute energy would find it difficult to penetrate his body. The flames in Luo Lai's eyes burned. It is indeed a rare treasure. Luo Lai's eyes were blazing with flames. If he could obtain this Raging Inferno Divine Pearl, the nine-flame Scarlet Dragon's spiritual vein in his body would most likely be successfully condensed, allowing him to advance to the half-step Sea Will realm. Some of the geniuses looked at Qian Kai strangely. These damned fellows. I saved them out of kindness, but they actually coveted my treasures. At this moment, in the middle of the crowd, Qian Kai was running his true qi to support the Inferno Deity Pearl. He was sweating profusely. Qian Kai naturally sensed the other geniuses coveting his Raging Flame Divine Pearl and felt a headache coming on. Why don't these fellows just go and die? Qian Kai's eyes flashed with hatred. If possible, Qian Kai naturally wouldn't want to save this group of ferocious geniuses. However, these people were watching him closely and didn't allow him to make any unnecessary moves. Qian Kai dared to guarantee that if he made any unnecessary moves, these people would kill him directly and snatch his treasures. Honorable Elder, what should we do now? Is there any way to avoid these fellows? It would be best if they all died here. No. The old voice sounded a little stiff. Qian Kai was puzzled. Honorable Elder, why do you seem unhappy? It seems like we don't need to excavate the fiendish nether spring anymore. Are you unhappy? In a sea of consciousness, A ball of icy blue radiance paused for a moment. In the next moment, it was filled with anger. Why should I be happy? I just want to excavate the fiendish nether spring. Without it, how am I going to recover my true body and break free from the restraints of my physical body? Supreme Spiritual Ruins couldn't bring himself to say that. F*CK, who is so ruthless to blow up the Demon Hunter Canyon? Who dares to spoil my plans? If I find out who it is, I won't let him off. Qian Kai was anxious. Honorable Elder, help me think of a way. They are treating me purely as a strong man. This Inferno Divine Pearl needs to be supported by true Qi. I can't hold on for much longer. Once I can't hold on any longer, they will have a legitimate reason to get their hands on the Inferno Divine Pearl. The old voice sounded dull for a moment before suddenly speaking. Someone is here to save you. Qian Kai, kid, your hidden dragon tournament might be over this time. I have to hide first. Otherwise, those mighty figures will easily find me. At this moment, everyone had a strange look on their faces. Pure, snow-white lotus flowers began to emerge from the palms of the crowd. Among them were Lin Fei, Jin Rui, Ouyang Yu, and Luo Lai. The lotus flowers on Ouyang Yu's palms were blood red. Lotus flowers appeared in the belly of the mountain. A boundless power suddenly appeared. The lotus flowers turned into a stream of light and wrapped around the lodging master. The light flashed and disappeared. At the same time, outside the Demon Hunter Canyon, a lotus flower automatically flew out from Qin Feng and the others. Looks like a mighty figure from All Stars College has made his move. Qin Feng witnessed this scene with his own eyes. His heart skipped a beat. A blood-red light condensed from the Blood Lotus imprint and enveloped Qin Feng. His entire body was bathed in the blood-red light. The universe book in Qin Feng's mind trembled slightly. The power of space. A mighty figure who has mastered the power of space has made his move. Qin Feng's eyes revealed a trace of shock. Although martial overlords could condense their inner worlds and control a small portion of the power of space, they definitely didn't have this kind of power. To be able to directly teleport, it could only be a rebirth realm supremacy who had experienced the Blade of Time. His body was involuntarily pulled by an invisible force. It was as if he had entered a completely dark environment and was roaming forward. This is the Void Gap. The Void Gap contained countless dark, turbid currents. Qin Feng couldn't see any direction clearly. After entering the condensed realm, his condensed seventh sense couldn't see anything clearly here. Buzz, buzz, buzz. At this moment, in the depths of his soul, in the Azure Sea world, a strange little tree was indeed emitting a cheerful and joyful emotion. The World Tree. In ancient times, the World Tree was the link between heaven and earth. It used its roots to connect the void of all realms. Qin Feng's eyes revealed a trace of mysterious power. With the help of this void gap, Qin Feng seemed to have become one with the World Tree. Slowly, he gained a trace of understanding of some of the mysteries of the World Tree. With this trace of mystery, Qin Feng's self-created 8 Desolation Immortal Mystic technique began to automatically adjust. His whole body trembled, emitting a series of crackling sounds. Some black impurities were squeezed out of his flesh and blood. What was strange was that these black impurities had the fragrance of 1,000-year-old spiritual herbs. These impurities were great supplements for ordinary warriors, but to Qin Feng, they were impurities. Some of the shortcomings were quickly fixed. At this moment, Qin Feng realized that the 8 Desolation Immortal Mystic body, which he used to be proud of, had so many shortcomings and loopholes. Qin Feng's body faintly began to change according to the structure of the chaotic divine tree. Many of his acupuncture points and meridians shifted, carrying a trace of divinity. It seemed to be able to devour the power of the void. At this moment, a beam of light appeared in his eyes. Qin Feng's figure flashed and suddenly appeared. Qin Feng opened his eyes and looked up. A huge black stone tablet appeared in front of him. This was the stone of leaving names. This is the square in front of the Hall of Stars. Qin Feng suddenly raised his head. On the huge stone of leaving names, the first name emitted a bloody charm. This name was like an azure blood sea. A blood lotus flowed. First place in the Hidden Dragon Tournament. This is the second update. The third and fourth updates are to come. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.